Welcome to another episode of Chasing Labels. I am your host, Stephen Billings, and with me, as always, is the host of the most. That ain't even sound good. Host with the most, Andrew Kerbal. How you doing, man?
Doing good. We're back from our brief hiatus. Felt like an eternity, so I'm glad to be back.
It did feel like it. Honestly, it really did feel like a long time. But honestly, I mean, and anytime there's something like this that happens, it's all about me because, you know,
Very true.
yeah. So I got a lot going on. So it's usually the breaks are because I say, Andrew, I need a break. So
Right, and
yeah,
we did it at a time where maybe we hoped there wasn't going to be a lot to catch up on, but we were oh so wrong.
we were wrong.
Oh so wrong. So this episode or spy number 105 will be kind of a supersized, double-sized, full-sized, biggie-sized,
Double
however,
D episode.
yeah, double stuffed episode of just everything that they crammed into the last 2 weeks of June of 2023, which ended up being quite a bit,
Yeah.
specifically towards the end here. And of course, it did extend over a little bit into the first day or two of July. So we will be covering the Vinegar Syndrome and partner label stuff towards the end of the episode. But we got a grand total of 24 hours to kind of go over everything and assess everything. So it's not going to be as in depth as it was before, because they
Well,
decided to go with I think 17 partner label titles and then like 5 Vinegar Syndrome titles.
yeah. I mean,
So it's a
look.
it's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
this episode might be a little long. It could end up being a little long, but honestly, expect there to be a little bit more of a brief scan over some of these titles because we can only talk about. We don't want to make this too long.
Right,
And
right. I did get to see a bunch of the
yeah,
stuff, specifically stuff that was announced, in the middle of our hiatus week. Gave me some more time, so we'll uh, probably concentrate on those a little bit and then run through some others. But you'll see that we'll cover
yeah.
as much as we
No,
possibly
there'll
can.
be a decent amount of this covered in a little bit more depth. And of course, some of the stuff was actually pretty familiar.
That
So
is
we didn't.
also a big help.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
big
yeah. It
help. I
helped a lot.
was a lot of stuff that had already been seen by not only myself, by Steven, but
Yeah,
probably many other people within the
sure.
movie loving community. But let's kick it back. Let's go for some individual stuff and just hop right into it so don't waste any more time. I do want to bring up one title that I um uh, just slipped by me initially, and then I kind of caught it and I wanted to bring it up. And this is from a label that we haven't talked about in a very long time, and that is Arbelos.
Yeah.
Arbelos is a small label. I believe it's run by one of the founders of Canadian International Pictures.
I
And we
think
got
it's
into a
David Mamet, Merritt, David Merritt.
yes, yeah, him. And they put out Santan Tango. They put out the last movie, the Dennis Hopper film, and now they're putting out a movie called Chameleon Street, which is a very under the radar movie because it is done by Wendell B. Harris Jr. and he only ever directed one movie, and the movie it's called Chameleon Street. It came out on the 1990 Sundance Film Festival. It was a big hit, and he never directed another movie. I don't really know the reason behind that, but it won the grand jury prize there. It's getting a new 4K restoration. It is streaming currently as of right now on the Criterion Channel app. That's where I watched it. It's going to have a limited edition slipcase, and this is an interesting movie that is about a guy. It's kind of based on a true story. It's one of those where it's a man who is a con artist essentially, and he ends up kind of conning his way through a bunch of different careers. Like at one point he's a surgeon, at one point he's a lawyer, at one point he's something else, and he just keeps changing his identity. Hence the name of the movie, Chameleon Street. And it is based actually on a true guy who did this. Eventually got busted and went to prison for it, but he was able to do it. He was able to perform surgeries without training, without being a
Mm,
surgeon, successfully, I guess, or else they would have probably caught him much earlier. But it's a movie that's a kind of a a metaphor for like race and assimilation into different cultures and American identity and stuff like that. It's kind of a lost hidden gem of a film. There's two commentaries on this release. I highly recommend people check it out. It's a weird film because it doesn't really have a solid plot structure. You're mostly just kind of living moment to wild moment with this very eccentric character who morphs into all of these different identities. But that is Chameleon Street.
Cool.
Um, yeah, that's a fascinating film. Fascinating film. But moving on from there quickly to MVD Rewind has
All
another
right.
film coming out. A Jess Franco film. I don't know what's up with the rights for Jess Franco's movies, but it seems like everybody gets to put out at least one Jess
You
Franco
get a
film.
Jess Franco, and you get a Jess Franco. Yeah, I
Hey,
mean
it's like
Vinegar.
Oprah.
Yeah, yeah, Vinegar Syndrome, Blue Underground.
Uh,
Now MVD. I believe maybe I'm
yes, Severin
Severin's
put out a
gotten
bunch.
some. Well, he's done a lot of. He's prolific, so that's. I mean, I think they're just kind of everywhere.
Yeah, this
That,
movie is Jailhouse Wardress, which is about a a female warden in a jailhouse. One of the most notorious women in prison epics. That's how they dub this film. Um, actually, it's not about a prison warden who's a female. Actually, it is. It
I was gonna
says
say, did you lie? Why would
yeah,
you lie?
Marie de Guerra, who's sentenced to life after killing her father, who had attempted to assault her while behind bars. Maria encounters a sadistic female warden and hatches an escape plan involving the seduction of a male nurse. Um, yeah, that
Cool,
sounds salacious, and it sounds like Jess Franco. Um, yeah,
cool.
I don't know if he directed this film or if he just, but yeah, he does say he directed it.
I was
So
gonna say that's gonna lose some value there. He
oh,
had.
because it says, you know why? Because the cover says directed by Alain Deruel and Jess Franco. Yeah. So that's that. But we also have some other Jess Franco put out by Blue Underground in a 4K, and this is The Girl from Rio, which has new audio commentary, new 4K restoration. This is something that says in the tradition of Barbarella and Danger Diabolic comes the swinging 60s action orgy. Nice. And yeah, it says it looks like a heck of a movie. It says a bisexual supervillain Sumitra launches a diabolical plan to enslave the male species with her army of lusty warrior women. Um, wow.
I mean
Um,
this cover, it just really taps into that time period of adventure films, like action picture. This could be like a Star Wars poster. It's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Um, So there's, you know who's in this movie? George Sanders from All
Yes,
About Eve and Village of the Damned, and he
yes.
was in Hitchcock's Rebecca. He was in, oh, I think it's like Trip to Italy, which is a Rossellini film with Ingrid Bergman. I'm that kind of sells me on just wanting to watch this movie because I'm curious what a George Sanders film like George Sanders being in this film would look like circa 1969. Um, yeah, apparently this movie has a bunch of different titles. It's called Rio 70, River 70, Future Women, Future Mothers of America, The Seven Secrets of Samura.
Mothers of
Um,
America.
yeah,
That's the one.
what a movie. But that is Jess Franco, and yeah, it's got a new commentary. It's got a new interview with Stephen Thrower. There's a Riff Tracks edition that's on here. Riff Tracks being the remnants of Mystery Science Theater 3000 with like Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy. That's an interesting extra on here. But I would say this the Blue Underground 4Ks are always of really high quality. They're a little
They are.
expensive,
Yeah.
but I've heard nothing but great praise for them.
Yep. Yeah, I can agree with that. I have a few of them myself, and they all look really awesome. So, um, all right. Shall we move any more singles? Shall we move over to?
Um, yes, there are.
Okay.
I mean,
I was gonna. I was gonna
yeah,
say
there's that
second sight.
Oh, yes, the Second Sight. Let's go
Yeah.
to there.
Okay.
Because Second Sight had a couple of announcements, couple of really interesting announcements. Steven, do you have
Yeah.
those? Because I don't have them
Gotcha.
up.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got them. So it'd been teased for a while. that we're getting David Cronenberg's recent film, Crimes of the Future, in a 4K. So, of course, in America, we've had 4Ks, and now this is getting a deluxe edition from Second Sight. It's getting tons of new features, which is really the selling point here, along with a 120-page book with new essays. Yeah, I mean, I, I already pre-ordered this.
Oh, did you?
Look, well, okay, this is the thing. I'm not a super fan of this movie. Like, I really need to watch it again. I came out of the theater thinking it was, of course, interesting because it's a Cronenberg movie, but didn't love it. But it's also, current thing about Cronenberg is the more you watch his films, the kind of more they can kind of like grow on you. And I hope that happens with this film. But because I'm such a Cronenberg fan, I kind of just was like, okay, I might not love this movie, but he's like my favorite director, one of my favorite directors, and I'm gonna get the best version of this movie. So this seems to be the best edition.
Yeah, so far, yeah, we got a couple of additions here, but nothing to this extent. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Nothing this deluxe. If you are a fan of Second Sight's work and you got some in your collection, you know exactly what we're talking about. The packaging is super deluxe, the artwork's gorgeous, extras package is through the roof.
yeah,
Just beautiful presentations. It is definitely worth the money that you pay. I got the Chainsaw Massacre 4K limited edition is probably one of the best, if not the best edition for a single film of the year so far.
yeah.
It's just incredible, incredible. And that recently, I think, either went out of print or went out of stock. Either way, it's getting super limited, rare to get. But this set, Crimes of the Future, I luckily haven't picked up this movie yet, so I got to get it. So this is the way to go. Um, I actually like the movie probably more than most people that I know.
Well, like I said, I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I was just like, I'm indifferent about this movie. I don't know that it really like got its footing in ever. But I'll be happy to watch it again and be wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
it's coming out August 28th,
yeah,
just for those of you interested. And the next thing from Second Sight that's also coming out August 28th is they're putting out a similar limited edition of It Follows.
yeah. I think this was a big surprise. I think
Yeah,
people.
I think
Um,
people were pleasantly surprised.
oh yeah. I mean, it's as we kind of like half discovered through just talking about it a little while back ago. We realized Second Sight really is like a horror label,
Yeah,
especially
it's like
modern horror. They primarily,
like a
yeah,
deluxe horror label, which I guess
yeah.
a lot of the
Well,
Severin
there's
is
tons of
similar,
them.
Vinegar Syndrome
Yeah,
similar,
but
but
but but but they tend to focus more on modern horror, like kind
yeah,
of
they're focusing on kind of known horror. Not by
yeah,
known, I mean, like, more popular. Like, people
b-
know
yeah.
Crimes of the Future because it's a Cronenberg
Well,
film.
yeah,
People know Texas Chainsaw because it's a massive film of the genre. The Witch, with the modern film like we've talked about. But It Follows is a movie that I saw in the theater, actually, and I
I'm
own it.
pretty
I
sure
own
I
the
did too. Yeah,
Blu-ray.
yeah, yeah,
And this is definitely something I'm also interested in upgrading as well because it is a 4K. You're getting a new commentary, you're getting a new interview, and it's an
150
interesting movie.
page book.
Yeah, good God, that book's gonna be half the packaging.
Yeah,
I'm, I'm assuming a hardbound book. That
yeah,
seems
yeah,
to be their thing.
yeah. It
But
is.
it is having essays by several people, most notably Kat Ellinger
Yep.
is in there as well. Yeah, this looks really cool. I love the cover. For those of you who don't know the premise of the movie, it's an interesting premise.
I love this. I
Um,
love this movie. Yeah,
it is about kind of a curse that you pass on through sex,
yeah,
which sounds like a very interesting anti-sex movie, if you think about
yeah.
it.
I mean, I've always looked at the movie as like taking kind of the one of the biggest tropes of essentially the slasher genre, which is never have sex or
Yeah,
you'll die, and then in this case, kind of like makes sex the villain.
yeah. What is
Yeah,
it?
you
Yeah,
know,
because sex is used in horror movies so much,
yeah,
almost as kind of a throwaway thing. Like, let's just have gratuitous nudity. Let's just have a random sex scene. Let's just have somebody get murdered while they're having sex, something like that. But then they're taking it and building a plot around it,
Yeah.
and building a plot around it that is frightening, because
It's
as the
fucking
movie goes
frightening,
along,
yeah. Yeah.
this curse can't leave you until you pass it on. It chases you
It's also got that
ever.
Final Destination feel to it too, because it's
Yeah, the
like,
fate, like your fate is death.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
you
escape
can't
it.
get away from it no matter what you do. Like, it's yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I can't remember who directed the film. Steven, do you remember?
Um, shit.
I'm gonna
I'll
look it
get
up.
it.
Actually, I
I'll
have it
get
right
it.
now.
Yeah.
It's David Robert Mitchell.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's a three-name person.
Ah,
One of
I
them
love
three
this three name
namers.
person. Yeah,
Yeah.
David Robert Mitchell. He directed the movie Under the Silver Lake.
I still need to
Um,
watch that shit. I
I
heard
I
it's
want to. I
great.
actually really want to buy it because I haven't seen it either, and I really love Andrew Garfield
I hear it's like a
as an
kind of
actor.
a neo-noir, so that's why I'm like, I really need to watch. It's on Amazon.
Oh, okay then.
I believe
Yeah,
it's on Amazon, yeah.
but that is It Follows.
Yeah.
Can you?
I already pre-ordered both of
Oh,
these.
okay then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
It
getting
Follows came out in 2014. Doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
yeah,
Uh,
I
Goodness
know.
gracious. That's
I get this director and the guy that did Under the Skin. Um I got them confused for a while. I'm trying to think of what his name is.
Oh,
Um
the Under the Skin director?
yeah,
The film starring Scarlett Johansson. That's
yes,
Jonathan Glazer.
Glazer, yeah.
He's he's
Just that their films are both similarly bleak.
Yeah,
Um
Jonathan Glazer is an interesting director. His films are very
well, he just
unique.
what's his newest film? I know he just had a new film come out, didn't he? Um
It says The Zone of Interest.
yeah, I think it recently started coming out at film festivals, I believe.
Yeah, because he's one of those directors who it takes him like a
Years.
long time to
I
make a
don't think he's
movie.
done anything since
It,
Under the Skin.
yeah, Under the Skin was his last feature.
It was his
He's
first
done
movie. Wasn't it
he's
his
done
first movie?
no, he's been around for a while.
Oh, okay.
He directed the movie Sexy Beast, which came out in 2000,
Okay.
um, which is a movie that I think about very often.
Ugh.
Uh,
No.
it's a fascinating movie with, um, just just incredible cast in that movie, an incredible what career performance by Ben Kingsley. I know
Yeah.
everyone knows Ben Kingsley as being Gandhi, and of course he's in Schindler's List and all that stuff. But his performance as Don Logan in Sexy Beast is on another level of just brilliance, I think.
Okay.
And of course, you have Ray Winstone, who's super underrated as an actor, in my opinion. But yeah, Jonathan Glazer is a unique director. He also did this movie called um, Birth with Nicole Kidman that came out in 2004. That's dealing with like reincarnation and stuff like that. Yeah, it basically this young boy shows up on this woman's door and he claims to be like the reincarnated version of her deceased husband.
Mm.
And the whole movie you're like, is he? Is he not? Like what's going on here? And it's a really interesting surreal film.
Mm.
Nicole Kidman is stars in it obviously, and she's really good
Seems
in it.
seems familiar. I might have seen that
Yeah,
one.
it doesn't have I don't think it has a Blu-ray release. I think it's only available on DVD, at least here, um, which is unfortunate because would really love I would really love a Blu-ray of it. Yeah, it only has a DVD, I think. No Blu-ray anyplace else. But yeah, that's I don't know how
All
we got
right.
on that, but let's
Well,
move on.
it's my fault.
Yeah.
It's let's go over to Kino. Let's get the Kinos out of the way.
Okay, let me find out. There they are. So Kino's been doing their thing for the last couple of weeks. They got a sale going on now. Their Kino Classic
What
sale.
do you mean? They always have a sale going on right now.
Yeah, I partook in their, buy it before it goes away sale. Their buy it while it lasts sale, over for my birthday and whatnot. I just scooped up some stuff there, and then of course they've got a Kino Classic sale, which is just their classics stuff,
Yeah.
which is a bit of some of their older releases, some of the releases of the more of their catalog titles and stuff like that. None of the prices on there were too eye grabbing. Like they weren't like, oh my god, I can't believe this is so cheap. I gotta buy it. So I just skimmed over it for give it a once over. But they do have some stuff coming out in August. And first up here is they're putting out a 4K and a Blu-ray version of 3 Days of the Condor, which is a political thriller from the 1970s, starring uh, several well-known people like, who's
Robert
in it?
Redford,
Robert Redford, yeah. Robert
Faye
Redford's in it.
Dunaway, Cliff Robertson, Max von Sydow.
Yeah, and it's directed by Sidney Pollack,
Yep.
who directed, like, Jeremiah Johnson, he directed Tootsie, he directed Out of Africa. Um, just a great director, and I think I brought him up on the most, recent unwatched pile. I talked about his
Yep.
movie Yakuza,
Mhm.
starring Robert Mitchum. So this is a kinda classic political thriller that Robert Redford kind of got known for because he was also in All the President's Men and films like that. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so it's been
What's
many
that one
years for me.
he did a spy movie later in his, with Brad Pitt, Spy Games.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
It's all
He
about them
did do
political
that.
movies. Yeah.
Very, very true. I mean, there was all kinds of political thriller films in the '70s, in the '80s, obviously during the Cold War, all that kind of stuff. Politics has always been a favorite thing to do in movies, and this is
You know
kind of
what's
one of them.
you know what's a political movie that I feel like has just completely gotten, like, I bet you that because of who's in the movie, the Scientologists just got rid of the movie. Lions Lions for Lambs. Remember that
Is that
movie?
the Tom Cruise film?
Tom Cruise is in it, and I
Yeah,
believe, like, I think
I
maybe
think Meryl
Anthony
Streep
Hopkins?
is in it.
Yeah, there's, like, big actors in this movie, and it's, like, off the face of the earth. It's like that fucking genie movie with Sinbad that never existed, right? Like,
Yeah,
nobody talks
Kazam?
about.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Yeah, like
was that the Shaq movie?
Kazam?
Hold on.
Kazam? Yeah, uh,
Oh,
Shazam.
Kazam is the Shaq movie.
Yeah, okay,
I don't know.
Shazam.
I know what you're talking about. There's this whole big debate whether this movie's actually real or not. Um, I don't know. I'm one of those people who thought they saw it as a kid, but I guess I was completely duped.
I guess
Who
not, yeah.
knows? Who knows? But I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
that movie Lions for Lambs, I remember seeing it, and I remember the poster in the lobby when it came out, and it's like a movie that I think is just off the face of the fucking earth. I've never heard anybody talk about that movie ever.
Ironically, it's directed by Robert Redford, and he's also in the
Wow.
movie.
Yeah.
It came out in 2007. I feel like a lot of the 2000s Tom Cruise stuff, people don't really talk about.
Set for Tropic Thunder,
Yeah,
which is the very last thing he did in
except for
that day.
Tropic Thunder, except for what did they I think he did
One
Mission
of the Mission
Impossible
Impossibles.
3 was
Yeah.
done in that time. Mission Impossible 2 was done in the year 2000, so technically it's there, but I feel like when we're thinking of Tom Cruise right now, we're thinking of all of his highlights and not some of his more, like, other stuff that he did.
Yeah.
Because there's that lull in between where he was just doing movies, and then like, he was doing, like, he did that movie Night and Day, which no one gives a
Yeah.
crap about.
Well,
Um,
he went
and
through
now
a
we're
phase.
just because he's been doing the Mission Impossible stuff now for several years, and it's back, people are talking about it, it's back in the limelight, that's all people think about,
Well, I
and Top
mean,
Gun.
Tom Cruise essentially has decided that his whole career is about fucking almost dying. Like like everything he does is about pushing the envelope. He's not doing small dramas anymore. Like he's not.
That's kind of what I was talking about, like, all
Yeah.
those dramas that he did, no one's
I
really
mean,
paying atten like Vanilla Sky,
well, I was gonna
which I
say,
think is good.
when did Magnolia come out?
I wanna say 2000 and well, it's either I think it's 2000 and 1999. I'm way off.
Yeah, wow,
1999. For some reason, I thought it was 2003, but it's not.
yeah,
But yeah, Magnolia's then like his '90s work. A
this
lot
is a
of
lot more
people just
interesting.
yeah. I find like his dramatic stuff was where he was really doing a lot of heavy lifting, and then
Yeah,
he's kind of just gone back to what to like his safe zone.
I
You
guess
know what
he's
I mean?
waiting, when finally gets to the point where he can't do anything action wise anymore. Maybe he'll go back and try to win an Oscar again. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I think of like Jerry Maguire. I think of Born on the Fourth of
Born on
July,
the
like
Fourth of
movies that
July
were
he's amazing.
challenging.
Yeah,
Collateral, another challenging role
that's probably one of the best movies he's done. That's not a Mission Impossible movie
in the
in
last
recent time.
20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I still gotta upgrade my Blu-ray to the 4K. I
yeah,
just think of that very often. Of course, Eyes Wide Shut, another challenging film,
yeah,
controversial film, I guess. Interview with the Vampire. When was the last time he did
yeah,
a horror film? Interview with the Vampire. Was probably the last time he did a horror film.
yeah,
Uh, I guess War of the Worlds does have horrific things in it. Aliens are trying to
yeah, yeah.
destroy the
Sci-fi
planet.
horror. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that great scene with uh, Tim Robbins that's just
Oh yeah,
incredibly
yeah.
frightening. So
I like
yeah,
that movie. Honestly, I People seem to poo poo on that movie. I think it's underrated Spielberg.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
underrated Spielberg.
yeah.
I think that and Minority Report.
Oh my, well,
I
I
think we
don't know
talked
that
about
that's
more.
underrated. I just maybe underseen is
Yes,
better for that
under
one.
talked about
Yeah,
more
yeah,
appropriately.
yeah.
But back to Robert Redford and Sidney Pollack and stuff. So 3 Days of the Condor. I just want to read the synopsis because I haven't
Yeah.
thought about this movie in a while. A bookish CIA researcher in Manhattan finds all his coworkers dead and must outwit those responsible until he figures out who he can really trust. Yeah, it's one of those political conspiracy theory. People are on the hunt for him because he gets caught up in something that he never intended to be caught up in. It's one of those types of political thrillers. But moving on from there, we've got
Ah,
some other
ah,
stuff.
ah, ah, stay
Staying
alive,
alive,
stay
staying alive.
alive.
Yes, so we talked about this a little bit when it was announced initially. Now we've got a heck of a lot of details on it. So this is coming out August 29th, 4K and Blu-ray. This is the sequel to Saturday Night Fever, the sequel that not a lot of people tend to talk
Sylvester
about.
Stallone directed it.
Yes, he did. It's not a great movie, but it
No,
is watchable. Great soundtrack, of course. And yeah, I talked a
and,
little bit
and,
about it when it was announced. So
yeah, and it's got John
Travolta,
Travolta trying to be Rambo in the front.
yeah, he's reprising his role as Tony Manero from Saturday Night Fever. He's made it to the big city. He's still trying to become a dancer. And it's just him like trying to pursue that dream of becoming a dancer on the Broadway stage.
Hmm,
Yeah, that's the movie.
cool.
But this is getting a 2 disc edition, new audio commentary, um, and it looks like about it in terms of, and then new interview with the actress Finola Hughes. That seems to be it. I thought there would be much more going on here, but I guess not. Uh, but we do
Yeah,
have some other stuff going here, and this is um, we're getting a looks like just Blu-ray release, so no 4K here. Is for Fletch and Fletch Lives, starring Chevy Chase. Have you seen Fletch or Fletch Lives,
no,
Stephen?
it's one I've always. It's one of the movies you see in the Walmart, on the Walmart shelves or in the bin, and I'm like, oh, I could get Fletch, But the thing is I'm just not a Chevy Chase fan.
You
Yeah,
know what? I'm glad you said it because I didn't want to be the one to say it. I like Chevy Chase. Like I've seen a lot of his work just throughout my life, like the vacation movies
I
and
was gonna say I get shit for being like, yeah, vacation movies are fine. I don't. They're not like staples of my like. I don't watch Christmas Vacation. Like I don't like. They're not. He's just not funny to me.
hey,
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you. I think he's funny at moments
yeah,
and time. I think he's also someone who, man, his career has been very interesting. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I
yeah,
like Chevy Chase, but I'm not like oh he's amazing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I wouldn't be like oh let me put on a Chevy Chase movie.
He kind of. I mean, like I don't dislike this actor as much, but like right around the same time, Dan Aykroyd's the same thing. Like I
Oh okay.
like he's good in some roles, but like think about Dan Aykroyd's career. Like how much does he have? How much can you speak of about Dan Aykroyd other than he was
Well,
on SNL and he did the
yeah.
Blues Brothers and he
I was
was
just
in
gonna say Blues
Ghostbusters,
Brother.
Blues Brothers
Ironic,
and Ghostbusters, and that's it.
ironically, I was watching Wayne's World yesterday because it was on TV and I needed to watch something while I was eating dinner, and Wayne's World was on some network channel. Thinking about like SNL movies, like
Yeah,
what was like some of the first SNL movies, and it's like oh yeah, Blues Brothers was an SNL skit, I think, and
yeah.
that became a movie, and the Wayne's World was the same way. But when I think of Dan Aykroyd, of course, I always go back to Ghostbusters, like I think a lot of other people
He
do.
has a lot of bit roles in movies. Oh well, okay. My favorite Dan Aykroyd is probably Coneheads. Coneheads is probably the best.
Coneheads, I did grow up watching Coneheads.
Yeah,
I
Coneheads is
really
good.
wish I owned that movie.
I have it. Yeah,
I gotta get it. There's a lot
dumbass.
of those comedies that I grew up with that I gotta get in my collection. I
Yeah,
was actually just thinking of Jim Carrey earlier today.
yeah,
Liar Liar is a movie that I've seen so many times. I've never owned it. Never owned
yeah. You
it at
gotta get
all.
that Shout Select release.
Yeah, I was thinking of that Shout Select release. I was just thinking of a lot of there's been a lot of Jim Carrey stuff getting re-released within the
Yeah,
last like
I
2
just showed you
years.
before the show. I got the Truman Show in.
Yeah, The Truman
Yeah.
Show, um, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, um,
Um,
Man on the Moon,
Man on the
you know,
Moon. They had
a
the
lot.
Ace Ventura's got studio releases again not too long ago. They need some good. They need a
I'm
better.
just
They
saying
need.
they need better releases. They
Yeah.
n they need better releases. They gotta add in the dolphin trainer bit at every time. I have it
You
on
quote
DVD.
him.
Yeah, I have it on DVD because one night, many, many years ago, I was at Walmart late at night on a Saturday night, and I just needed something to buy. So I'm like, let me buy Ace Ventura on DVD. And I was just like, hey, why not? Um, and so it's sitting on my shelf somewhere.
But you
But
do you know Snowflake? Do you know him? Does he call you at home? Do you have a door soften? It's just the best. And then they take it out. Oh god,
I
it's
don't know why they cut that out of the movie. I
it's
mean, I think it was always because it was like insulting to Eastern European people. But I'm like, if you're gonna cut that out, there's so many other sequences within comedy films from 20, 30, 40 years ago that you're
yeah.
gonna need to cut out as well. So what's the
I don't
deal?
know. I don't
But
know.
anyway, I know what you're saying. But Dan Aykroyd for me, it's he is
You
he's
mean
never.
Chevy Chase? Chevy Chase.
Oh yeah, Chevy Chase
Is the main person we should be talking about here.
is the main person we should talk about. So Fletch is a
Fletch. Yeah.
movie that is it's like he's like a private eye, but he's also like a funny, charming private eye as well.
He's like the parody, almost the parody version of the Elliot Gould character from the uh Sunday what the fuck is the name of the movie? Where he plays the private eye character. Um
Are you talking about when he plays Philip Marlowe?
yeah, yeah. The Long Goodbye.
Yeah, The Long Goodbye. It
He's
is
like
kind of like that.
yeah.
What is interesting is that they're kind of reviving the Fletch character
Yep.
with um Don Draper. What's his name?
Oh, Ham.
Yeah, John
John Ham.
Hamm. And they're actually shooting the sequel to Fletch Lives now. I just saw a few days ago that they're shooting the sequel
Oh,
to
so
it.
he's getting they're making another one with John Ham.
Yes, with John Hamm.
Oh, that's cool.
And
That's
I
cool.
thought John Hamm was kind of perfect in the role. Really, he's got a great sense of humor. He's charming.
Yeah.
Looks like a private eye. I mean, all of those things. But I actually never
John,
saw. What's that?
I was gonna say John Hamm is just so fucking good. I love
He
he
is a very good
especially
actor.
he's hilarious too. Yeah, he needs to do
Yeah, I think
more.
and in a way, for me, I think he's still trying to find that post Mad Men
Yeah.
success,
Like
which
I
I think
thought
a
he was
lot
gonna
of
get
actors
I thought he
do.
was gonna get it after Baby Driver. Like I was like, he did Baby Driver, and I was like, man, he was great in that. And I was like, and it just has not caught on. He for some reason hasn't caught on. I don't know. He hasn't gotten the right role yet.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and a lot of actors who are on very, very successful, very popular TV shows do have that kind of post
Yeah.
run lull. I think even Bryan Cranston, I think, is kind of a bit in that same category.
And he's just
Granted, he did some
and now he's
great
saying
roles,
he's gonna retire.
and now
So
he's saying he's going to retire. But so I never saw Fletch Lives, but I have seen Fletch. It's directed by Michael Ritchie, who I think we've heard about a few times. Michael Ritchie he directed like The Golden Child, and I think he was a writer and director of Cool Runnings. I think or
ooh,
maybe
Cool
I
Runnings.
yeah, I think he just wrote Cool Runnings, he didn't direct it.
Ah,
But yeah, he did Fletch Lives, The Golden Child, um, movies like that. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of Fletch, to be honest. I know people quote it all the time and it's like fun and stuff, but
okay.
I'm medium on it. I'm medium. Like
Okay.
it's
You're
cool that it's coming out.
lukewarm. Lukewarm.
Lukewarm. Yeah, I'm lukewarm. But I do like Caddyshack. I do like Caddyshack.
Yeah, it's okay.
And Chevy Chase is in that movie. So
All right.
I feel it. So moving on from Fletch and Fletch Lives, let's move on to another kind of 80s favorite, and that is Monster Squad. It's getting a 4K UHD release. This is big news.
Yeah, it's big
This
news. Yeah.
movie's written by Shane Black. This movie is just a kind of Halloween staple, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've yet again, it's another movie I've only seen once, but I feel like a lot of people grew up watching this incessantly. And it's literally uh, a group of like young kids try to save their town from Count Dracula and the other monsters.
Yeah.
That's the premise of the movie.
Yeah. I mean,
It's written by Shane Black.
yeah, it's definitely like a good like slumber party movie. Like it's a good movie. You get a bunch of your kid. You know, when your kid get your friends to come over, you watch it with them. It can be a little scary at times, especially for it was the '80s, so they got away with a little bit more. But like, yeah, it's I think it's I don't think it gets tossed around as much today as being a movie you watch at Halloween. It's always things like Hocus Pocus or even Nightmare Before Christmas or But I think this one should be thrown in the rotation. It needs to be talked about as a good Halloween watch.
Yeah, it came out in
So
1987, so it came out quite a while ago. There's been quite a few Blu-ray releases here. By quite a few, I mean there's been 2 here in the US, and then it's been released in, like, Canada, Germany, it's been released in Australia, Italy, Japan, Spain, but I do remember the original Blu-ray release here came out in 2013, and that was put out by Olive Films. You can still get that release for 25 bucks, or you can just wait for this one. I would probably wait
I
for this one.
I I I have I have it. I don't know which release I have,
Oh,
but I
do
have
you?
it.
Because there
Yeah,
was another one though, Stevens. I wanna know if you had this one.
probably the most recent one.
There was a 20th anniversary release in 2009. So the Olive Films release was in 2013,
I think I have the
and
olive one then.
yeah, and then the original from 2009 was put out by Lionsgate and has a much different kind of Photoshoppy type cover, while the other one was a more, like,
I don't
theatrical
know.
poster type
I'd have to
cover.
go find it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie that is interesting that just hasn't gotten more, like, more love on physical media, but it did seem like it had quite an extensive, making of documentary, I think, on the original release, but I'm curious what the special features are going to look like on this one because they haven't given us anything other than I think its date. I don't even think yet. They haven't even given us a date yet. So it's coming soon. So that's Monster Squad. So I know a lot of people are super excited about that. And next up here is actually a movie I have not heard about until they announced it. And this is um the first time from 1969. And it's a movie about this young man's literal first time. It says 3 teenage buddies meet the woman of their wildest fantasies and mistakenly think she belongs to the world's oldest profession, the sex working industry, in
Yeah.
the first time. And then of course they have only one thing on their minds. Feels like a very weird sciency type of
Mm.
film. Um, yeah, and it's the woman is portrayed by Jacqueline Bisset, who was in Bullet, Mephisto Waltz, Le Magnifique. I know a lot of people know who Jacqueline Bisset is. Um, a really good actress, and yeah, it feels like a coming of age antics movie. It's directed by James Nielsen and co-written by Joe Heames, who wrote Play Misty for Me, I
Mm.
think, which
Okay.
is the um
Clint Eastwood directed
the
movie.
Clint Eastwood directed film, which was also put out by Kino recently. Yeah. So yeah, movie sounds interesting. What is interesting is that we have a movie in the theater right now, which has almost the same similar premise. No Hard Feelings,
Yeah.
starring Jennifer Lawrence, is a movie in which the parents hired this young woman to be their son's girlfriend in quotes. They
Yeah.
take out like an ad on like Craigslist for this. It's very interesting premise. Um, but it just goes to show that you got a movie from 1969 dealing with this kind of similar, sexual coming of age stuff, and you got a movie from 2023 dealing with a sexual coming of age stuff, and it seems like that's a running theme throughout just life in general, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, the young men or women,
Mhm.
being socially awkward or feeling like they need some kind of sexual awakening, a sexual, and that's a thing that's always a part of coming of age stories. I mean, it's
Right, and
so
I mean, they have the tagline right up here, which is a little interesting. It's like, "Funny, nobody thinks about a boy when they say the word virgin."
I
Um,
I think that's actually the opposite. No, they do. I think
yeah.
I think virgin gets thrown at boys more than it does girls nowadays. At
Well,
least
I mean,
nowadays.
yeah, I mean, when you're a teenager, there's always teasing and bullying and
Yeah.
there's all kind of sexual wording and stuff that comes up amongst young people and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. Like the people do label people in any way, whether it be sexual or not. Um, yes, that's an interesting tagline. But granted, that's 1969 for you.
Yeah.
That's not nowadays. But yes, I wanted to check. Um, like Jacqueline Bisset, I know I've seen her in several films, and I know she was in Bullet with Steve McQueen, like we said, but she was also in Murder on the Orient Express, the one directed by Sidney Lumet back in 1974. She's in Casino Royale, not the one you're thinking about. It's the one from 1967 where you want to check out a cast of just people who were around at the time. That cast is ridiculous. Where you have David Niven, I believe, as James Bond. Got Peter Sellers as is in there. Orson Welles plays Le Chiffre. Le Chiffre, who was played by Mads Mikkelsen in the one with Daniel Craig a few years ago. So that I just find it fascinating that Orson Welles played a James Bond villain at one point.
Yeah.
That's fascinating to me. But moving on from there, moving on, we've got It Takes Two, which is a film I don't know much about, Steven, other than
No.
the song It
It
Takes
takes
Two.
two,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about it either. But it looks like one of them, like, you know, man caught between two women situations. It says,
Mm,
match made in heaven is about to take a hell of a detour. Travis
nice.
Rogers, played by George Newbern from Father of Bride, and Steffi Lawrence are small town childhood sweethearts who are about to be married, maybe. Steffi's rich family is planning a lavish ceremony and is giving Travis a pair of cold feet. While preparations for the wedding proceed, Travis takes off for Dallas to buy the car of his dreams, his ruckus adventure behind the wheel of a super fast sports car and in the bed of a beautiful blonde,
Hello.
played by Kimberly Foster. Take some hair raising turns and make the possibilities of a wedding more remote the closer it gets. So, yeah, it just seems like one of them,
Well,
scenario comedies
yeah,
around a wedding.
came out in 1988, so it definitely
Almost
got
a
some
good,
80s vibes.
almost a good year. Almost a good year.
Almost. So yeah, so that seems fun. Then we got a movie called Double Trouble, and if you want to see some 80s
Wow.
haircuts or even 1992 haircuts, there you go. There you
Wow.
have it. So double the action, double the laughs with David and Peter Paul, who are the Barbarian brothers,
I was
the
going to
most
say, this is
mismatched
one of
pair.
them movies where they got twins to play.
Yes, they did. They got
Yeah.
twins to play twins. The
Yeah.
most mismatched pair of identical twins since Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was thinking about twins the other night, so this is appropriate. David is an LA detective, and Peter is a convicted cat burglar. So you've got brothers on different sides of the law. They become unlikely partners when Peter's granted immunity to help his brother bust an international jewel smuggling ring. And of course, I'm assuming brotherly rivalry, brotherly antics ensue in trying to do that. The sinister ringleader of this drug ring apparently is portrayed by Roddy McDowell. Um, yeah, this looks fascinating. I've never heard of this movie until now.
I feel like I've seen this poster before, but I don't know. I don't know if I could. Okay, maybe one day I'll have to watch this. But moving on, we do have a film starring Jeff Bridges and Tommy Lee Jones from 1994. If you heard that, you heard me blow away. Something got blown away. Yeah, stupid joke, I know.
Nice,
Also
nice. I
stars.
got it.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So also stars Forrest Whitaker, Lloyd Bridges, Susie Amos. Yeah, I mean, I looked into this movie and seemed like it was probably not going to be pretty good. It's probably not going to be
Yeah,
good.
it seemed like a really kind of cool 90s action thriller film.
Nah,
Um,
I don't know.
it's directed by Stephen Hopkins, and Stephen Hopkins, he first of all, I gotta check. Let me check to see what he's actually
He did,
directed. He
he did
directed
direct
movie.
Ghost in the Darkness.
Yes, he did. He directed Ghost of the Darkness. He's directed a lot of TV over the last 2 decades. My goodness, he directed like the like 12 episodes of 24. He's directed In Plain Sight. He's directed a bunch of stuff, but he also directed Predator 2, which is super underrated. Predator 2 is so underrated and so overshadowed by the first movie that nobody ever talks about it. And I think it's super cool because the Predator essentially comes to the urban setting, comes to the city, and he's like killing like gang members and stuff, and the police are trying to track him down. And it's a really cool concept, I think. That's the one with Danny Glover. Danny
Yeah.
Glover fights a predator in the movie. Um,
It,
but
it
he
says
all
it says he directed Judgment Night. Is that the one with Emilio Estevez? Where
let
they're like
me
in the
see. Yes, it
city
is.
Yes.
Cuba
Yeah.
Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
It is. It
They like
is. It is
find a
exactly
gun or
that.
something like that, or like
Yeah, Dennis Leary's in the film. Jeremy
yeah.
Piven, Stephen Dorff. Four young friends, while taking a shortcut en route to a local boxing match, witness a brutal murder which
Yeah.
leaves them running for their lives.
Yeah.
George McKnight.
It's a solid movie. I think it's got a Warner Archive release.
Cool. He also directed Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child, which I
Ooh,
think
that's kind
which
of an
one is that?
underrated one.
I don't know which one that is actually.
It's not. It's. I don't think it's considered to be good.
Okay.
Um. But yeah. I mean, I wanted to watch this. I almost watched it, but
I just didn't have the time.
I
Yeah.
moved on.
I wanted to watch that as well. I want to watch it as well. This is definitely something I know has interest to the 1990s action aficionados and stuff. Sounds like a really cool cast. Shot by the same guy who shot the movie Ricochet and Broken Arrow. Ricochet is a movie starring Denzel Washington that needs a Blu-ray release and just doesn't have one yet for some crazy reason. You would think that all of Denzel's stuff by this point would be released on Blu-ray because he's, you know, such an
He's
accomplished
Denzel.
actor. Yeah, he's Denzel. He's the man. But no, not at all. So that is that movie, and next is another film starring Aaron Eckhart, Ben Kingsley, and Carrie Ann Moss. And this is the movie Suspect Zero. This is getting a 4K UHD release, but there's no date on it yet either. There's also no date for Blown Away. So that could be coming this year or next year for all we know. Um, but I don't know anything about the movie Suspect Zero, which the poster looks incredibly unsettling, but though.
Well, I can tell you this: it's a fantastic cast. I love that cast.
Yes, and this movie came out in 2004, and it says a mysterious serial killer is hunting other serial killers, and one FBI agent suspects there may be more to the vigilante than they imagine.
So wait, what's that game? It's a crying. What's that one game that's that one movie that's just like God? It fucking came out in the '90s. I'm blanking on the name of it. Damn it, my
Talking about
mind.
Seven?
No, it's like Seven. It's like Copycat. That's what
Oh,
it is.
okay.
It kind of makes me think of Copycat because they're like murdering people like other murderers.
Oh,
He's like
that's an
murdering.
interesting concept.
Yeah, yeah. Um. So
It's written by Zach Penn, and yeah, Zach Penn is I think somebody I may actually follow on Twitter, but Zach Penn wrote like The Avengers and Ready Player One, The Incredible Hulk,
you're saying a
X-Men
lot of.
2,
You're
X-Men
saying a lot.
United.
You're saying a lot of okay movies.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but I'm just well, at least it's movies people know. He
Yeah, they are.
also okay, there's an interesting group. The Inspector Gadget film starring
Oh well, that's a good movie. What are you
yeah,
talking about?
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
To be honest, what would one expect from an Inspector Gadget film other than what we
No,
got from that movie?
that one's
You know what I
that's it.
mean?
That guess well, I mean, that movie's fine, but,
Yeah. He
yeah,
also wrote the story for Last Action Hero.
I do
Uh,
like Last Action Hero.
Behind Enemy Lines, he wrote the screenplay for.
Don't
Um, X-Men: The Last Stand, not great.
not great. Yeah, he
Okay.
delves in a lot of comic book stuff. I think
Yes, yes, yes.
wasn't he involved in Watchmen? Was he involved in
I don't
Watchmen?
no, there's nothing here in terms of
No.
writing for that. Um,
Um,
no.
but, yeah, who cares? The movie is about serial killer that kills others. I'm gonna watch it. It sounds
Okay,
cool.
yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's it for Kino.
That is it for Kino.
Let's stab on over to, Indicator. Let's do Indicator. We got one box set
Alright.
there.
Yeah, we got fortunate in terms of, having to cover Indicator. We got one box set. It is Universal Noir number 2. We got
Yes.
Universal Noir number 1, obviously, already, and this has, a group of 6 films. Lady on a Train, Time Out of Mind, Singapore, A Woman's Vengeance, An Act of Murder, and The Lady Gambles.
Um, I
Any of
bet you
these
should
tickle your fancy, Steven?
I mean, they all tickle my fancy, but I mean, there's just so much here. I hear people say that the one in the box set that tickles the most fancy is, the act of murder is what people are I'm hearing
I
people
did get
say.
to see An Act of Murder, and it's an interesting film, probably one of the more thought-provoking films out of all of them. Directed by Michael Gordon, came out in 1948. A man kills his terminally ill wife to prevent her further suffering. Yeah, that is the loose kind of basis of it. Um, and it's yeah, so it's dealing with kind of those things. You know what I mean? Like the idea that should is it morally acceptable? Is it morally acceptable to end one's suffering if they're going to just pass away anyways? You know, that's the whole euthanasia thing, like
Yeah.
the Dr. Kevorkian thing and whatnot that we're still kind of dealing with. Yeah, euthanasia. I think is only legal in like a handful of states. I think so still. So it's bringing up those kinds of concepts within a film noir kind of courtroom setting. The film does star Frederick March and Edmund O'Brien. I think yeah, and it's good. I got to see all of these movies, so I straight
Of
up
course you did.
straight up seen all of them. Lady on a Train is an interesting kind of film. It actually predates um it plays with the ideas of movies that came out afterward that are more well known, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. This movie came out in 1945, and I was thinking of it sounds very similar to Rare Window, but Rear Window came out several years later. So while watching from her train window, a woman named Nikki Collins witnesses a murder in a nearby building. When she alerts the police, they think they basically think she has read too many mystery novels, or that she's drunk, or that she just imagined it. And then she kind of goes on her own investigation to see what happens. She does end up discovering what she saw was in fact true, but she ends up finding the ins and outs as to why. She enlists like a one of her true crime like novelists that she really likes. He ends up getting involved in it somehow. And yeah, it's a very interesting kind of whodunit type of movie starring Deanna Durbin. Deanna Durbin, who Kino has already put out a box set of. I do also want to make mention that the movies in this box set here are already available through Kino in their various film noir box sets. Like
Mm.
one will be in box set number 3, one will be in box set number whatever,
I was gonna
and
say, these
yeah, so
titles
you
seem familiar.
yeah, so all of these titles you may already have in your collection at home or may have already
This
um, seen
you s
them
you
before.
saying that makes me feel even better about not buying any more of the Kino sets.
Mm. I did do, like, a comparison to see which sets these films were in and what the difference was in terms of special features. Basically, what I have come to learn is that when it comes to comparing the stuff being released by Kino and the stuff being released by whether it be Indicator or whether it be in those imprint film noir sets, is that Indicator seems to get exclusive commentaries that are only exclusive to their releases and not in these other sets. That seems to be the major difference. I remember one time we were covering, um, I think it was when Celeste was on, actually, first time she was on our show. We ended up covering some stuff that Indicator was putting out, and this it had already been put out by Kino. And Kat Ellinger had a commentary on the Kino release, but not on the Indicator release, and that's got to be the decision as to which one you want. That may factor into that. So that seems to be the case with these releases here. Is that that the special features in this box set are, you know, quite extensive and way more than you'll find in the Kino release. But the Kino release will the boxes will be cheaper essentially. Um, but moving on, there are a couple of other ones I want to talk about. Like Time Out of Mind is a very interesting film. Um, it's not quite if I yeah, it is a noir, but it's way more of a melodrama than anything. Um, so this son of a wealthy Maine family who like deals with like shipping and deals with like stuff like that. He wants to basically not following the family's footsteps, and he wants to be like um, a music composer or a grand pianist. And the movie's just about like the trials and tribulations about him going through that, but specifically from the perspective of his wife, who I believe is portrayed by Phyllis Calvert. And he goes through like times where he's not successful, times where he's got a drinking problem, times where they're running out of money. There's all kinds of stuff like that. So it's just kind of a melodramatic series of those things happening. And I found myself not really getting into it, not really caring, if that's the word. So that's what that movie's more of a melodrama than I find it to be a film noir, really. I think it's more film noirish because it's dealing with kind of darker existential themes of trying to like survive in life, maybe stuff like that. It's directed by Robert Siodmak, so that's kind of
Yeah.
note. Yeah, it's an okay movie. Let's see what else we got here. I'm actually going back to my letterbox because it's been like so long since I've watched a lot of these. The Lady Gambles. You can imagine what this movie's about, Steven. It's about a woman
Mm.
who gets a gambling problem. So a woman who is portrayed by Barbara Stanwyck is called Joan Booth, and basically she goes on vacation with her husband to because he's covering some event, and they're staying at a hotel that has a casino, and she ends up getting addicted to gambling. Like it starts off slow, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and her life gets turned upside down. She gets
Yeah, it's like
uh,
that. It's like that Canadian International Pictures movie we watched.
oh yeah, yeah, very much is like that. Now that I think about
I
it,
can't remember the name of the movie, but yeah,
and
it's
neither
like
can
that.
I may actually have it. I can't remember it. Um, it's
Well,
yeah, it's kind of.
it's in their new. It's going to be in their second primetime panic that they
Oh, you talk
haven't
about
released
Fun
yet.
City? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's you're right. I said Canadian International
Yeah,
Pictures. I
you
meant
did.
the
That's what
Fun
threw me
City.
off.
Yeah, yeah. It's the Fun City Primetime Panic 2. One of the movies is about
Yes,
the
it
girl that
is.
gets
Yes, it is. It's
addicted to
about a woman
gambling.
who gets involved in gambling addiction.
Yeah.
So this movie's dealing with that, but it's Barbara Stanwyck. So if you're a Barbara Stanwyck fan, it it's probably a good thing to get it. I always like watching Barbara Stanwyck do her thing, and this movie was definitely very dramatic, and she played it. She played it very, very well. Then there's a movie called Singapore, which takes place in, you guessed it, people, Singapore.
San
Um,
Francisco.
yeah, yeah, it takes place in Egypt. But after the war, Matt Gordon, who was portrayed by Fred McMurray, returns to Singapore to retrieve a fortune in smuggled pearls. But of course, things get a little crazy. So he arrives and he reminisces about his life uh, during the war and before the war with the fiance that he had, and who was portrayed by Ava Gardner. So he kind of rekindles that flame, even though she actually has amnesia, so she doesn't remember him, and she's gotten like married to someone else, and he has to uncover why that's the case. And there's all kind of sinister stuff going on when it comes to the retrieval of these pearls and whatnot. It's fine. I felt like maybe Fred McMurray was a little miscast in a role like this because it's a way more of an action, adventurous type role. And for some reason, when I think of Fred McMurray, I don't think of him in that vein. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe I just think of him as in Double Indemnity as this insurance salesman, or I think of him when he was in My Three Sons as the father later on in his life, or when he's that slimy guy in the apartment, that businessman. I just don't think of him in like I can't think of him in a war zone setting.
Yeah.
But he's fine. He's fine in the movie. But Ava Gardner's gorgeous on screen and whatnot. Um, so what else do we've got here? Because I'm just rolling through these movies. A
Well,
Woman's Vengeance is the
yeah.
last one.
Okay.
Might as
Good.
well.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I
Woman's
haven't seen him.
Vengeance, this is another one that's dealing with, kind of murder in a way. So, a cheating husband is charged in the poisoning death of his invalid wife in spite of other women and suicide also being suspected. So, yes, this is the one star Charles Boyer, and Blythe is in the film. Jessica Tandy is in this film. Jessica Tandy, who was in Driving Miss Daisy. I think that was one of her last roles, if not her last role. And this is a movie where Charles Boyer gets accused of poisoning his wife because he's having an affair with a much younger woman in Anne Blythe. And people basically accuse him of it. And whether he did it or not did it, I guess is kind of up to us as the viewer and up to people to decide. It's another one dealing with like a court case, but it's also a movie dealing with how rumor and jealousy and speculation can ruin someone's life, even if it's not true, which is
Yeah.
the case today. We see it all the time with rumors and misconceptions and all that kind of stuff. So that's what that movie is about. Um,
Alright.
yeah, a woman's vengeance.
Yeah. So aesthetically, I always love all their sets, but I'm a little surprised that they essentially just kind of copied the aesthetics of their first Universal. They didn't like change the color or anything, so it's like exactly the same color as the.
Is it that yeah, is this more silverish or is this straight gray like the first one? Because I think the first one was gray, wasn't it?
It looks the same to me.
Yeah,
Um,
Universal Noir. Yeah, it does look exactly the same.
yeah, because usually they do a different shade, a different color.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking on my shelves right now, and the first one was yellow, the second one was orange, the third one was red, and the fourth one is blue. And then
the fifth one's like a dark gray, and then
yes,
the last one, which was their first Universal Noir, is the same. Looks to be
it's
the
like a
same color
gray.
as this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
a little underwhelming. It's functional, it works. We're gonna get the same quality build and whatnot, but maybe they just ran out of colors. I don't know.
I don't think that's the case, man. They don't have a green. They don't have a
That's
green.
true.
They
They
could
don't
have
have a
done green,
green,
man.
purple, pink.
I don't know, man. A little disappointed they didn't keep the color thing going.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. But
It's not a big deal.
it's really not. It's not going to prevent me from eventually
No,
buying it. I
I'm
can
gonna
tell
get
you
it. Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Um, I'm yeah. I can tell you. I still need to get uh like I think I still need to get the fifth set, and I still need to get the first Universal set. I'm a little
yeah,
behind.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm a little behind. Yeah,
uh,
Columbia Noir number 5 was the Humphrey Bogart set,
yeah.
and then Universal Noir number 1, number 2. So I'm a little bit behind. I'm hoping for a sale. Right now we've got some sales going on, and it is a little bit overwhelming. So maybe spread it out a little bit. But moving on from Indicator, do you want to take a trip? Oh, where are we going now? Imprint?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
Imprint. All right. Well, Imprint. We got a few releases here. Not as big as their the usual slate. I think this is actually a little bit tame for them. But we do get one kind of another film focused box set. This time focusing on actor George Picard or Picard,
Pepad.
Picard, not the guy that runs the starship. Um,
No,
but
not the guy, not Captain Picard from Star
no,
Trek.
no, not that guy. But George Papard, um, who in this set we got four films. We got 1968's PJ, which is a guy that jumps around in his PJs the whole movie. Weird movie. 1969, just kidding. 1969, Pendulum. 1970, we have The Executioner. In 1974, we have Newman's Law. Tell me,
Yes.
tell me how much you love George Papard, because I know you do.
I've always been kind of a fan of George Peppard. I know Tarantino is also a big fan of George Peppard. I first saw him in Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn. He plays her love interest in that film. And I never thought I would see a George Peppard dedicated box set.
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
he just he was around at the same time as a bunch of other guys who are just more well known, like we just mentioned, like Robert Redford, Steve McQueen. He was all in that same like era, like that 60s, 70s era. He just gets way overshadowed by these other more notable names. I did get to see Pendulum and The Executioner. Um, I I wanted to see PJ and Newman's Law. I just couldn't find those in time to watch. But Pendulum is a movie where, uh, yeah, on the evening of his decoration for bringing a murderer to justice, Washington, D.C. Police Captain Frank Matthews' wife and her lover are murdered in bed. Jailed as the prime suspect with the aforementioned murderer released on a technicality, Matthews escapes in search of the man he believes to be the real killer. So, yeah, he plays a police captain who's like a hero, getting all kinds of awards. He's buddy buddy with like the local senator, who's like kind of setting him up in the political world and all that kind of stuff. And then his wife gets murdered with her lover in bed, and he's the
Mm.
main suspect. Um, the movie is it's interesting from that perspective, but it's very straightforward, and you can assume who did the murder, and it is in fact the person who did the murder that you think. Even just by that premise, you know who the murderer is. Movies vary by the numbers, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a good fun
Okay.
watch. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, it's called Pendulum from 1969, and then the next film is a movie in which he's kind of like a James Bond type person in The Executioner. Yeah, he's a British intelligence agent, must track down a fellow spy suspected of being a double agent. So the movie is he works for MI5. It's interesting because he's an American, but he works for British intelligence because he I guess was born in Great Britain, but he grew up in the United States, which is why he has an American accent. They fudge the lines there, but anywho, he's basically kind of like a James Bond esque espionage guy, and he thinks that there is a leak within MI5 because um, one of his missions that he goes on kind of gets busted up, kind of like gets foiled or whatever. So he begins to believe that there's a mole, there's a suspect, and he tries to fish it out. And of course, he starts going down the right trails, so it brings up some animosity with the upper echelon people within MI5, and he's has to weed things out and whatnot. It's fine. It's a good twisty film. Goes on for a little too long, I think. The movie clocks in, I think, at about like an hour and 50 something minutes. I thought it could be a little shorter, but uh, that's got some cool action beats in it. Got some twists and turns. Um, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's a
Okay.
fine movie.
All
Um,
right.
but the other two I did not get to see, but the other two look to be in the similar kind of vein of him as like an action cool spy type guy, officer, you know what I mean? Like those types of roles.
Yeah. All right.
But we got some other stuff here, don't we?
Of course we do. So one that I feel like has been released many times from different labels is "Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia." But the twist here is uh, it's also coming with another film, which is a documentary on the great Sam Peckinpah called Two Passions of Poetry: The Ballad of Sam Peckinpah. So yeah, this looks like it's got a new 4K restoration. I'm not sure that this is anything new that we haven't already gotten. Like I said, I think Arrow put out a release of this, um, of Alfredo Garcia.
I'm trying to think. I know off the top of my head. Um, it's been released by Twilight Time twice. It's been released by Kino, and it has also been released by Arrow,
Yeah, it's the one I have. Yeah,
twice actually.
yeah,
So you are right. So this movie has gotten its share
yeah.
of releases. Um, i- yeah, but this release here, I know specifically comes with a lot of special features. Like it was also that second disc, which is on its own just a documentary about Sam Peckinpah. I'm assuming his life and career. There is one, two, three, four audio commentaries on this release. There is new there's image galleries. There's new portrait of an artist as a dead man. Bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia and Sam Peckinpah's last chance. It's a video essay by Travis Woods. Um, yeah, there's an interview documentary here. There's an interview with another retrospective about Sam Peckinpah. This is a pretty deluxe release.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean,
It's got
you know,
everything.
it's and then of course in their nice slip box, but the cigarette box top style that they like to put theirs in. I mean, if you don't already own this movie, or if you really just are not happy with the release you already have, this is a pretty awesome upgrade here. With that documentary. So I mean, I'm somewhat. I mean, thing is I like the movie. Okay, I don't love the movie. It's not one of my favorite Sam Peckinpah movies. But it's a good release. I mean, if you don't already have the movie and you want to, I would say go for this. This might be a really it's probably going to be region free. It'll be awesome. Yeah. Um.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you don't already own this film and you're a fan of Sam Peckinpah, it's one of his later films.
Yeah.
Came out Actually no, it came out 1974. So it's in that wheelhouse. I was thinking of something else, but I have the Twilight Time release, which I yeah actually has its share of special features. Um, yeah, I was thinking for some reason I didn't think it had, but it's got those commentaries as well. And it's got some other things, but I'm thinking of rebuying it just to have all this extra swag that comes with it, all the extra goods.
Yeah.
I like the movie enough. The movie stars Warren Oates. It's a movie that I rather enjoy. I love that Sam Peckinpah style. So the premise, general premise, an American bartender and his prostitute girlfriend go on a road trip through the Mexican underworld to collect a $1 million bounty on the head of a dead gigolo. It's got that usual Sam Peckinpah 70s grime and grit to it. It's got that slow motion action, the squib explosions of blood splattering. I really like his work. But that's not the only Sam Peckinpah release we have, because feels like I'm getting deja vu, Steven, because I just talked about this movie getting a 4K release from Studio Canal,
I
and that
think you
is
did. Yeah.
Cross of Iron. Cross of Iron getting two releases. Um, yeah.
Wait a second.
I
Is this what's the
oh
movie
no,
that's
this
got?
is a 4K release. Never mind.
Oh, so it says an
Yeah.
upgrade here.
No, well, yeah, well, the Studio Canal release is a 4K as well,
Okay.
but it
Okay.
looks like this is a 3-disc edition. The first
Wow.
disc is the 4K, second disc is a Blu-ray, third disc is um the Grindhouse version of the movie.
Huh.
Huh. Yeah, this is coming with tons of features as well. Holy. And this is yeah, wow. I'm just reading all of these
Ain't
things.
playing around with this release.
No, they're not. With either of these releases, they're going full tilt. Really impressive, actually. Really impressive. But yeah, this is the movie Cross of Iron. If you didn't get to hear about me talking about it in the previous episode, it's a World War II war film. Um, it's about the German soldiers retreating after Stalingrad. They get caught behind enemy lines. They've got to basically fight their way back. It's a dark, kind of gritty, serious, existential anti-war film, really, starring some really good actors in it. If I didn't mention already who was in it, um, I'm trying to remember. Is it? Yeah, it's James Coburn, Maximilian Schell, James Mason, David Warner. Um, yeah, directed by Sam Peckinpah. It's a gritty war film. So yeah, we got Cross of Iron, and then we've got um one more, I believe, Stephen. Yeah,
It,
well,
it's TV.
it's a
Yeah.
TV thing. It's Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles, and the only reason I want to mention it is it does star Rock Hudson later on in his career. So it does star someone
Oh,
who is more
well,
known for being in movies.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the imprint slate. I mean, it's a
Yes, it
pretty
is.
pretty solid slate. Always surprising us with something we didn't think we were gonna get.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
hard. They're calling it their hard box month, aren't they?
no, that was July.
No, that was their July
That
was
was
their box set month.
they're
This is their
calling
hard
this.
box.
Is
Yeah.
that are they calling that? I don't see that anywhere. Where are you seeing that?
When I got the email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, whatever.
it doesn't matter. But moving on, let's go. Before we move on to like Arrow and all that stuff, I do want to mention there is one other individual release I do want to mention, Terror Vision, because every Tuesday, our buddy um Stephen Brad Henderson,
Yeah, I
he
knew you were gonna get it.
yeah, I get the adventure. Thank you for letting me do it, because he always pops up on Twitter. Brad Henderson announces a new TerrorVision title basically every Tuesday. It's TerrorVision Tuesdays, and this time he announced a movie called Parasites.
Yeah.
It's not what you think, and in the usual TerrorVision Brad Henderson style, it is a unique movie. This movie came out in 2016, and basically, three friends find themselves on Skid Row and are captured by an angry homeless gang. And one of them ends up surviving this capture and is running the streets of Los Angeles trying to escape from being hunted down by these homeless vagrants. And it's an interesting kind of Warriors feel to the movie. First of all, the movie was probably made for absolutely nothing, $0, perhaps, uh, and just an interesting concept in general. Then it is also dealing with certain themes about, uh, how about how the homeless are treated and how their response to that and all this kind of stuff. So it's a rather interesting perspective in that, but it's a Yeah, it's a very low budgeted type of film, which is very much in the Terrorvision vein. So I wanted to
Yeah.
mention that, but I do want to go over now to Severin because I wanted to go to Severin because they've got we missed out on announcing the rest of their summer sale titles. Their summer sale is going on right now, as of this recording, and is going on for a little while longer, I think. And they announced a couple more titles. First up here is actually it's a television title, so I thought I would mention it because Kat Ellinger had her hands in it. I just feel like that's important to mention. And it's a movie, and it's a show called Private Crimes, which I believe is like an Italian miniseries that's very much in the same vein as a Twin Peaks.
Mm.
And anything I tell you, anything Kat Ellinger gets involved in, I think it's worth checking out at the very least, for worth noting. So yeah, it's I think it came out like 25 years ago, and it's like a giallo type of show. But apparently this is its North American premiere. Um, and so I'm curious about it. I think
Alright.
Sergio Martino is also involved in it as well. Yeah, it's a 6-hour television miniseries, 4 parts.
Awesome.
So moving on from there is their summer sale title number 6, and this is a really kind of interesting film, and this is the last horror film. This stars Joe Spinell, and this is the movie I believe he did after, Maniac, and I think he only really starred in headline 2 films. I think it was Maniac and this one, and this film is very similar to Maniac, in the sense that it's him dealing with being a obsessive stalker, but
Mhm.
this happens to involve the movie industry directly, in the sense that it's, he goes to the 1981 it's set at, like, the 1981 Cannes Film Festival, and he's this guy who, um, he's obsessed with this movie star, and he wants her to be in his movie, but he's kind of more of an obsessed fan than a real movie filmmaker, but he goes there with his camera and he's trying to get her in his films. And what ends up happening is the people around her end up start getting murdered. And while you're watching the film, you're like, is he the one doing the murdering and then recording it? And that's how he's making his movie. And you're watching it the whole time, wondering that. And of course, the kills are very gruesome and over the top and all this kind of stuff. And it's what a weird, surreal type of film, and it's shot in a very unique type of way. And I rather enjoyed watching it. It's not a great film, but it's an interesting film. Um, yeah, it's I highly recommend it. This is getting a 4K UHD release. If you like the movie Maniac, if you like Joe Spinell, if you like that kind of these types of movies, the kind of 80s types of horror films, or kind of like serial killer films, even if you will, this movie's kind of for you. It's got a bunch of special features on it. It's got 2 commentaries. Um, yeah, and it's coming with like a bunch of swag too. I'm not sure if that package is sold
Well,
out yet.
that package already sold out.
Yeah, it makes sense. It was super limited.
Yeah, it's
But you get
but apparently this particular title is only selling during the sale. They're not.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Yeah,
once
there's also a thing about it where, um,
well,
it's
it's got a license in there. Oh, more specifically, it's got a licensing agreement that they're only making a certain amount of this, and then they're not making any more.
yes.
Yeah.
So there is a backstory behind this film. Um, in yeah, there's a backstory where it was, I believe, part of the Video Nasties, and it was cut dramatically, I think. And this is like the first time they've gotten like the footage to restore it back to like its original version. And I think it was cut because of some like gory scenes, some gory murder scenes. Yeah, the movie was shot like without permits back in the day. Um, and another thing of note is uh, the main character portrayed by Joe Spinell has a mother in the movie, and it's portrayed by his actual mother, and she is fucking hilarious in this movie. And she's just like one of the best parts. Like he's calling her up periodically while he's in Cannes, and just straight up lying to her, and her reaction to all of it, I think is just hilarious. Um, yeah, so this movie is getting restored, and it's probably being restored for the first time since it came out back in the day. So yeah, the last horror film, and I know it had another title because I remember looking it up, and it had a different title. It wasn't called The Last Horror
Well,
Film.
I mean, there was an alternate title, which is part of, if you can still get this release without the bundle, and it has an unofficial slipcover called with Maniac 2 is the name.
Yeah,
Because
it was also released under the title The Fanatic.
yeah,
Yeah, so when this was originally theatrically released in the UK, it ended up getting like an X rating or something like that. So it had to be like cut down significantly.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and it looks like this movie wasn't like allowed to be released in the UK until like the 2000s, I think. Um, yeah, with so it's getting finally getting a restored cut of the movie. So yeah, I like I was saying, I do recommend it for people who kind of understand what it is and what it's going for, and Joe Spinell and all that kind of stuff. So moving on from there, we've got the next title, which is a Lucio Fulci film. This is getting a 4K UHD release as well, and this is this is a 4 disc set with the fourth disc being a CD soundtrack, and this is a Lucio Fulci. It's kind of a giallo, but it's more of a kind of supernatural movie called The Psychic. And it's okay. So basically, this woman starts seeing like visions of a murder that's happening, a murder that may or may not involve her husband from years ago. And she actually discovers the body in the walls of the home that they are like that they're moving into as like a newlywed couple or something like that. And she ends up kind of going on this journey of seeing these visions and trying to figure out what's going on and who the person is that got murdered, what's her ties to her husband, what's all of this stuff. And yeah, it's fine, I think. I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't think it's one of Fulci's better films, but this does have also several titles as well. Murder to the Tune of the Seven Black Notes is the title you will find it under on IMDb, which is a way too long of a title, I think, Steven.
too
I don't know
long,
about
but it's
you.
kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
But I believe didn't this already have didn't Kino just put this out recently or announce this? Somebody else announced
Did
this.
they? Let me look. Yeah, also known as the Psych. I'm trying to look up its alternate titles. Um, I think so. I think you're right. How about let me look it up? I feel like I feel like you may be right in that. Let's see, the psychic. You would be surprised to find how difficult it is for me to type the word psychic. Because I always mess things up. So the psychic does have a special edition release in 2019 here from Scorpion Releasing.
Hmm. I feel like there's one that was more recently, but maybe I don't know.
There's another one from 2009. I think these are all Scorpion Releasing releases. The psychic. No, there's nothing here.
Okay.
Nothing here that's
Well,
recent other than that 2019 release
maybe I
from
just
Scorpion
saw it
Releasing.
scrolling through Kino's
Oh, there
old
was one
catalog.
from no, nope, that's not it. That's a different film. Well, I think doesn't Scorpion Releasing release their stuff through Kino, or
It
is that
does. They do.
okay?
But
I was thinking of them and then another company.
I might have come across it by accident, and then I'm just thinking it's a newer release and not
Oh,
something that was already
2019 is not
there.
that long ago.
Well, it is
I guess
four
this
years. 4 years ago.
yeah, that's very true. Um, yeah, so that's the psychic. Um, moving
And we
on
had already
from there.
we had already talked about the other titles in the last episode, Bad Biology and the Jess
Oh
Franco
yeah,
films.
that's why I was scrolling up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I just we talked about those, and we talked about the first four. We have to talk about the second four, and I think the last one here is Nightmare. Okay, this is a movie, Steven.
Is it?
Is it a movie? Yes, it is. This is a 3 disc special edition, never before seen restored version, plus 9 hours of special features. 4K UHD, Blu-ray is the package here. This is a movie that was so controversial when it came out. I think 2 out of the 3 producers actually went to prison because of it,
Cool.
because it was so gruesome at the time. Because it was part of the whole video nasties thing.
You getting me in.
Yeah, it is a gruesome movie. lots of blood, lots of stuff going on here. That's unseemly. Is so this is a movie about the premise is not so great. The movie's not so great. So a drug treated schizophrenic plagued by horrible nightmares is released from the hospital and goes on a killing spree. Yes, this movie is directed by Romano Scavolini, 1981, and so this movie opens with someone who is in a mental hospital. He goes through like this treatment for schizophrenia, and they believe him to be rehabilitated. So they decide, against probably better wishes, to kind of let him out a little bit to kind of test the waters. And
Just go
he,
out for a little walk.
yeah, just going for a little stroll. And he, of course, escapes and goes on a killing spree. And he's trying to make his way down to Florida to reunite with his family, whom he, I guess, doesn't harbor the greatest feelings for. So, but on his way down there, he starts like murdering people. But um, he has like these gruesome dreams of committing like the most heinous murders you've ever seen, and then he also has like gruesome dreams of like what he did to kind of trigger his trauma when he was a younger child. It's very dark and gritty, a lot of blood, a lot of over the top violence. It's the 1980s. That seems to be what all of these slashers are all about. The movie's not great in my opinion. I rated it pretty low on Letterboxd, lower than most people, because it's not that great. You
So
you
even
concentrate on
so
the
so
family.
even for what it is, it's not great.
You concentrate on the family like way too much, and I'm like, I don't care about what these people are doing. Um, but yeah, it's okay. It's an okay 19. I find like I think the story behind the making of and like what happened as a reactionary to it is more fascinating than the actual movie itself. If that means anything. Um, but yeah, this is another one that got obviously cut down significantly in order for it to get any type of release, and now they're restoring it back to, I guess, its original gory prominence. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so that's Nightmare. That's all of the Severin like summer sale announcements, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say that, like I said before, the bundle um, for the last horror film is sold out, but the other bundles are still available. You do have the Damaged Brain bundle, which is the Nightmare bundle that has swag with it and a book. I believe a book's with it, and then you got just the discs bundle, which is just all these films. No swag really, except for maybe like a sticker or something. And then the everything bundle, which is all the swag, all the is the only way you can get the Joe Spinell last horror film um, little
It's like a stuffed animal.
stuffed toy plush, with all the pins and there's the one thing that's pretty cool is the psychic music box. I thought was a pretty
That's a nice
fun.
touch.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what
Um,
I will say this, out of all of the movies that I got to see for these entire eight announcements that we had, um, I think the last horror film is one of the more interesting ones.
I mean, I'm really interested in watching Bad Biology eventually.
That's such a movie that you have to experience in order
Yeah,
to understand how fucking weird it is.
yeah.
Like, I don't even think me describing it was even like close to describing how the weirdness of that movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and then if I'm into it, I'm gonna buy it eventually. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. So that is
um,
it. So that
yeah,
is it from Severin for right now. Now let's go. Do you want to go to Arrow?
sure.
Yes, let's go to Arrow, and we've got some familiar things here. Uh, but Steven, you want to run these down?
Sure. All right. So, starting with probably the most familiar title here, maybe.
Probably.
That's Brian De Palma's Carlito's Way is getting a 4K release. You're getting a couple different editions of it. I believe one is maybe a UK only, and then the other is the US version. The one of them's the classic artwork that you kind of have on every Blu-ray, and then the other one looks like new artwork where he's kind of standing in the silhouette of the city. When I like both of them fine. But of course, like I said, this is a Brian De Palma film from 1993. Um, yeah, I mean, I watched it for the first time.
I was just gonna ask you watched it for the first time. What'd
Yeah,
you think?
I've had it in the collection for a while, and it's just one that I just hadn't gotten around to. And I was like, this gives me a reason to watch it. I like it. It's good. It's a solid, a solid crime film. Al Pacino plays this guy who's just, just gotten out of prison. He was known for being a kind of a um, one of the big kind of high drug roll, movers in the city, and now when he gets out, it's like 5 years later, and just in 5 years, kind of the culture in the city has changed a lot, and especially the crime element become more ruthless. People are not really respectful of, people don't respect anybody. Everybody's just trying to make it to the top, and so then you also have his lawyer played by Sean Penn, which I think he's kind of the highlight of the movie. He kind of steals the movie. Sean Penn's character, and he's wearing this awful, curly hair toupee. It's terrible. Like, I'm sure that was a Sean Penn move. He was like, I got to wear this hair, or I'm not gonna do this role.
Yeah, he's got like very weird. He's like
Phys-
he's like part balding, but like his hair in the back's like all stuck up. Like
it's really curly, and like he's wearing these glasses, and yeah, it's a good role. He's really good in it. And yeah, I mean, it's very stylized in that De Palma way. Solid movie. It's solid. I wasn't blown away by it.
yeah, I
I
know a
think
lot of people are big fans of the movie. A lot of people consider it like a classic gangster film. Where I like it. I think there's a romantic subplot in the film that I never was a big fan of. Uh,
it doesn't really go anywhere. Like
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't really do anything for me.
yeah
It just feels obligatory.
yeah.
Like we had to have a romance in this film, so we're going to have it. I believe it's with an old flame portrayed by Penelope Ann Miller,
It's I
who I
guess it's almost more used just to show that Pacino's character is not that
all has.
he's always had like heart, I guess, in some way.
Yes.
You know, yeah. I mean,
Y-
that's about it.
Yeah, so this edition is like I said, a 2-disc edition. It's got a 4K, it's got a Blu-ray, it's got 2 brand new commentaries. That's very interesting. This movie has been released a few times on Blu-ray and then
Yeah,
most recently in 4K by Universal in 2021, I believe. Yes, 2021. And it's yeah, it's a classic Pacino 90s film. I think a lot of people like it a lot more than I think I or Steven does,
yeah.
but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't
It's
buy this actually, just because the
yeah.
old Blu-ray that I have is like from forever ago. It's
It's definitely like it's a good movie. I honestly, I got done watching it. And I was like, if I can find this for a good price, I'll get it.
yeah, I'm
But
actually
honestly,
curious what it's gonna look like compared to the Universal release. Is
yeah,
it gonna look similar in picture quality and stuff like that, or even better?
yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm
But I
just
don't
trying to
know.
do
I just don't know that I don't know that I need to really buy this. I like the movie fine. The Blu-ray looked fine. I watched the Blu-ray. I was like, it looks solid. I mean, the
eh,
colors maybe are a little dull, but like, I mean, it's fine enough. Like, I like the movie okay. Like, I don't need to spend $40 plus to get this.
yeah, and I think it has the same features as the Universal release does. I'm just doing a quick comparison. It seems pretty comparable in terms of major special feature crossover. So you're
Yeah,
not really losing anything if you want to upgrade and get rid of your old release. I don't think you're really losing anything. It is getting, yeah, like you said, Steven, limited edition packaging, double-sided fold-out poster, the lobby cards, the usual swag. But we got another movie here which is very different, but also in the kind of gangsterish uh, field, and that is Borsellino. This is a gangster film I had never heard of before until this was announced, and it stars Alain Delon and Jean-Paul Belmondo, directed by Jacques Deray. Came out in 1970, so before Godfather Part 2. It's a gangster film in the vein of like The Sting meets The Godfather, in a way. You got these two guys portrayed by Jean Paul Belmondo and Alain Delon. They start out as rivals, and then they quickly become friends because they want to basically team up and run Marseille circa 1930. And they're small time gangsters, like they're small time guys just running like rackets and like fixing horse races and getting into the gambling ring and stuff like that. But the music that's played throughout the movie is the same similar music to The Sting, like that kind of, I don't know, 1930s music. I can't describe it to you. But they end up, of course, starting to try to expand their business, expand their foothold in Marseille, start working with bigger gangsters and start getting into bigger stuff, and then complications happen. There's also a woman involved, so there's a bit of a three-way love triangle going on there that creates some animosity and whatnot. But if you're a fan of Jean Paul Belmondo, if you're a fan of Alain Delon, I I kind of say you got to at least see this movie just for
Yeah.
them. They're great in the movie. It's written by Jean-Claude Cartier, who wrote Belle du Jour. Jacques Deray directed the movie, I believe, La Piscine with Alain Delon. So there's your Criterion connection right there, if you need one, that is. Um, yeah, so I'm very. This is a pleasant surprise. This is a nice surprise from Arrow, in my opinion. Just releasing a movie that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of, but is a good quality movie. Um, yeah,
Awesome.
and then we're moving on now to something also completely different. That is a staple of the giallo subgenre or genre, however you want to refer to, it, and that is Blood and Black Lace is getting a 4K UHD release and a Blu-ray release from Arrow. This is a big one. This is a big one, I think, for a lot of people. Um, this is yeah, Mario Bava, one of the godfathers of giallo. The movie came out in 1964. I've seen this film, Steven. I don't know if you have.
No.
Yeah, it's one of the more. I think it's one of the essential giallo films you need to watch,
Okay.
of any of them. And I think they had put this out already on Blu-ray. Yeah, it's come out here at least twice, but it's also come out by Arrow, I think in 2015, it looks like.
Is it in that?
Yeah.
Is it in the Bava set? 'Cause
The
I have a Bava set.
I don't think it's in the Bava set. I'm looking here. Is the Bava set from the UK? I can't see.
It's a UK release, I think. Yeah.
Maybe I should actually look up.
It's the green. It's a green box. It's a.
Let me look that one up, but I just want to look up. Yeah, the Arrow release came in the US in 2016, and in 2015 it came in Arrow. So this was when Arrow, I think, was just starting to do their US stuff. It was
Yeah.
around that 2015, 2016 window, I remember. But let's see that Mario Bava set. Um, let's see, Mario Bava. There's Macabre Visions, the films of
Yes.
Mario Bava,
Yeah.
put out by Arrow. It's got 9 movies and 16 cuts. It's got Black Sunday, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, Black Sabbath, not the band. Although I think the band got their name from that movie. A little trivia for you. It does not have Blood and Black
Of course,
Lace.
it fucking doesn't.
It's got
Damn.
everything else though. Bay of Blood,
I
Five
know,
Dollars for
right?
an August Moon, Kill Baby Kill. It's got every. Yeah, it's Rabid Dogs, Lust of the
Son of a
Vampire,
bitch.
but it doesn't look like it has
Well, I guess I
Blood and
gotta
Black
fucking
Lace.
get this movie then.
I gotta get it too, just because
Yeah.
I don't have any Bava in my collection. I think at all. No,
Really?
now that I'm thinking, I don't have any Mario
Wow.
Bava. Because in the States, a lot of Mario Bava has been released by Kino,
Yeah.
I think, and just some of those Kino releases, I've been waiting for like better releases
Was
to
that one?
show up.
That one was pretty decent. It was like his last one. It was like and it was finished by his son. Or it was a Shock.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah, but I
decent.
want to get his like
Oh yeah, his prime work.
Black
His prime.
Sunday
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
this kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
definitely gonna be getting this. I mean,
You've
there's no
convinced
doubt
me
here.
definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, some familiar, another familiar here. They've already put this out in a box set, but now they're putting out just the first film of the Ringu franchise. So the first Ringu, or in
In
America, The Ring,
Yeah, in
um,
4K.
in 4K, and also a Blu-ray. Oh no, it's two different box art, both in 4K. Yeah, Ringu, the Japanese horror film from what
Yeah,
1998.
yeah,
Yep.
here we got it. We got the movie The Ring, which was the American remake,
Yeah.
which starred Naomi Watts. It's the same premise. You watch this videotape and you're going to die soon after.
Yep.
But of course, it's
Sucks.
done with a lot more stylized version. I'm pretty sure I've seen this and I've seen The Grudge.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they put out a Grudge box set as well
Yeah, they
recently.
just recently put out a 4K Grudge box set. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that. Yeah.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. So
I
this
have
is
the
yeah.
ring. I have the Ringu set too. Yep.
Thing is I'm pretty sure I have Ringu and The Grudge on DVD, so I need to upgrade those.
I'm more of a
Um,
fan of the Grudge series.
okay.
The Ringu's fun. It's fine. I just I was more into the into what was going on with the Grudge series.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah.
Another series here. I mean, yeah, another
This
series
is
here.
the big one for me. Like I was like, whoa, like
Are you talking about the Psycho collection? The
no, I was
4K,
talking about that. No, yeah, of course I was talking about
the
that.
4K UHD Psycho collection from Arrow. This was something that surprised people.
Yeah.
Surprised me a little bit just because one, no one talks about the Psycho sequels a lot or ever.
Except for the second one. I think there
I
is
think I
like a
brought it up a few times because I've seen it and I own it,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
surprised by how good it actually is.
Yeah, I watched
But
it for the first time and I was like, if I'm going to have time to watch one of these, I hear the second one's actually pretty good. And it is. The second one's actually pretty good. Like,
yeah, I think they kind of get, in similar horror franchise fashion, they get a little worse as they go along.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so this is the Psycho collection. We've got Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. We all know this movie. Psycho 2, directed by um, oh, what's his name?
Richard Franklin.
Franklin. Richard
Richard
Franklin,
Franklin.
yes.
Yep.
And then Psycho 3 is actually directed by Anthony Perkins himself.
Hell yeah.
And then Cycle 4, I believe, is directed by Mick Garris. Yes. Cycle 4 is actually a TV movie that aired on um Showtime
Mm,
back in like 1990, if memory serves. Uh Needless to say, like I was saying, they do get worse as time goes on. Um but fascinating. Just it's interesting to me, like what else could you do with the Tony Perkins um, Norman Bates character, and like where would he go? Like what would happen afterwards? I always found that fascinating.
yeah.
I also found that Psycho 2 is impressive to me because it feels like what would happen if Alfred Hitchcock directed an 80s horror film. That's
Yeah.
what it felt like to me. And apparently, Richard Franklin was a protege of Alfred Hitchcock, so we kind of
Yep.
tried to adopt as much of that as possible. Um, but the real mystery for me was what 3 and 4 was going to be because I had never seen 3 and 4. 3 is interesting, because it very much picks up and is very much a sequel to what happens in Psycho 2, specifically the end of Psycho 2, which is there's a big reveal. I won't get into it. And then in Psycho 3, they play off of that reveal and kind of turn back the clock a little bit to kind of give you a quasi remake of Psycho with incorporating the events of the end of Psycho 2. A lot of stuff going on. Directed by Tony Perkins, like I said, and he takes a lot of lines, a lot of shots, a lot of homages from the original Psycho and puts them in there. Um, Very interesting. Alexandra Heller Nicholas did a special feature for that because apparently she was a big fan of that movie. So that got me interested in it as well. I think she's doing um she's doing a visual essay for it called
Yeah.
Carnival of the Heart, a new visual essay by Alexandra Heller Nicholas. Jeff Fahey is in the film. For those of you who don't know who Jeff Fahey is, he was in the show Lost. He is just a kind of a character actor who's been in a lot of TV series. If you see him, you'll probably know him. But he was in a super young role, and he's in the film. Who gets a job at the motel and whatnot. Yeah, I really dig Psycho 3, and then Psycho 4 is not great. Psycho 4 is an interesting experiment that kind of really doesn't go well. So you've got Norman Bates calling a radio show, a radio show that's got a psychiatrist on who's dealing with uh, people who committed matricide, coincidentally. And he calls up and he starts telling his background of his story. So we get flashbacks of uh, him as a kid portrayed by Henry Thomas, ET reference there. His mom is portrayed by Olivia Hussey, who I believe was in Romeo and Juliet. That just came out from Criterion. And it's all about their relationship of when he was a kid and how traumatic it was, how abusive she was, all of that stuff, all that background stuff that we kind of already assumed and kind of knew about. They kind of just lay it
Well,
out for us.
just watch Bates Motel.
Yeah,
It's
and I
really
was gonna say, watch, but yeah, the show Bates Motel with Vera Farmiga and Freddie Highmore. It was a show that was on A&E of all channels. Good show, and it
good
kind
show.
of gets
Yeah.
into all of that, but it sets it in modern time, and it's all that kind of stuff. But you get into all of the things that we already kind of knew about Norman Bates, and then there's like a third act thing that happens, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not great. It's not great, but it's interesting. So that
Yeah.
is that box set.
Well,
I'm curious about
it,
it. I
it's
want it.
impressive too, and they put a lot into this because it's
Yes.
5 4Ks in this. Because they
Yes.
also have there's a fifth disc that's the TV presentation of the fourth film.
Yes,
So
in a
there's
1:3:3 to 1 aspect ratio.
yeah,
So how it originally aired on television back in 1990. What is impressive also about this is I was doing a comparison with because Shout Factory has released these released Psycho 2, 3, and 4 in special editions about a decade ago. And that's where I have the Psycho 2 edition. I was trying to see whether those special features carried over, and I believe they all do, or most of them for the most part, a lot of the key ones from what I was doing a side by side comparison. So you get all of that. Also, if you're one of those people who a couple of years ago, Universal put out a Psycho franchise collection box set, um, you may have to rebuy this again, you know, unfortunately, but yeah, it's not the first time that these movies have been collected together, but I think it's the first time they've been collected together in such a deluxe way. I know Psycho is already out in 4K, put out by Universal because I have it. All those special features carry over because they carried over from the Blu-ray. Um, so yeah, you're getting quite a deluxe overlook of this whole franchise um, that doesn't get a lot of looks out of it. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
gets overshadowed, I think, by a lot of the stuff that was coming out in the '80s in franchise form. Anyway, Friday the
yeah.
13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Nobody
Well,
loops in the Psycho
when the
franchise.
first movie is a stone cold classic,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
really
like
is.
it kind of gets the other ones get laughed at in a way. But I think, I mean, I haven't seen 3 and 4, but that second film is actually worth your time.
Yeah,
It really it does the best job of picking up the story and you know expanding on the character a little bit and also kind of staying true to the storytelling elements. While of course this film's set in color and not in black and white, so visual it's got a visual style that's somewhat different because it is in color. But um, Perkins is great again. Um, it's good. It's good.
yeah. That's the one consistent thing, which is I think unique, is you did have Tony Perkins for at least all four films up until
Yeah,
his passing. He passed away, I think, in 1992 of AIDS, I believe. That's how he passed away, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, so that's a heck of a set that they're releasing.
yeah,
Um, I did want to mention that I believe our buddy Scott Saslow worked on that set.
yeah. I
Hold
believe
on.
he did the
Yeah, I believe he
design work.
worked on the
Yeah,
layout
layout. Yeah.
and the booklet design. I just wanted to make sure that I was correct on that. But we do have one more release in here that
Well, it's
we
the
didn't really
last
talk
one.
about.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
one we got here. It's the Prodigal Son. Looks like maybe another Golden Harvest
Well, this has
or
already been released
is it
by
already been
Eureka.
released?
Yeah, Eureka put this out because I have it, and I've watched it already when we covered that release when it came out.
yeah.
Um,
Is it Golden Harvest or is it Shaw Brothers?
I think it's Golden Harvest,
Yeah, that's what I
if
thought.
I remember. Yeah, yeah. Our buddy Scott Sassel did work on the layout and book design. I'm on his website now, so he did work on that. Just wanted to mention that. But yeah, this has already been released, so it's kind of kind of interesting that that they're basically putting out the US release of it essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know there was some people talking about um the the not liking the cover art for that, thinking it was a little too plain, um, which is fine. What is interesting is don't I don't plan on buying it because I already own it. It came in the Warriors 2 and Prodigal Son double feature that
Mm.
were 2 films by Sammo Hung that was released by Eureka back in 2022. So that's where I have it from. Um, yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
if you don't own it yet and you're loyal to Arrow, I guess maybe you want to go that route. Um, but yeah, so that is it.
That is the Arrow slate. Pretty awesome. I'd say pretty awesome eclectic slate.
Very
Um,
diverse. You get a
yeah.
little bit from everyone. You get some foreign film action with Blood and Black Lace as well as Borsellino. You get some modern mainstream stuff, I guess, with Carlito's Way. And you get some horror with Psycho. I mean,
Ringu.
it looks
Yeah.
like I'm gonna have to own Psycho now for a oh goodness, fourth or fifth time
Yeah.
at least. God
I
damn.
haven't. I don't think I don't think I bought the 4K for Psycho yet. So I'm on board with this. So
Yeah,
I
I
got
have it
this.
on.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I have it on DVD, Blu-ray twice, and 4K.
I know I have a Blu-ray that one of them nice the ones that Universal put out with the hard shell. You know, I'm talking about like the
Like
clamp the like it's not clamshell, but like the like the hard one. They had a series come out and it had like a like
was it like the horror classics or something like that?
they had like it was like a they were like a hard book. They were like a hard book, media book type of not media book, but like
I
a
know what you're
hard.
talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
that book type packaging. Um, it was it was like the Hitchcock classic, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I they put out so many of those collections that I couldn't keep track of them. Yeah, it was like, well,
it's like a Universal Classics
yeah,
line or
oh
something.
Jesus, there's so many of these.
I know.
Yeah, I was gonna look up Psycho. Trust me, when you look up the word Psycho when you're searching for movies, so many movies show up. It's absurd how many movies have been titled in that vein with with so much stuff. I mean, it's there was a Psycho Steelbook. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
No, it's not a
Um,
steelbook.
there was a Psycho Complete 4 film collection, which I just talked about. There was I know there was a Hitchcock like classics collection or something. I don't know why I keep saying classics. Because there was a whole set that I bought that had it in it, and I already owned it. Yeah, it's anyhow. I'm not gonna keep looking this up because I'll be here forever.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, so
Let it go.
moving on to Vinegar Syndrome. Yeah,
Yeah, let's get it done, man.
here we
We're in the
go.
stretch here.
It's the home
Uh,
stretch. Getting tired. Ugh.
yeah. So
So here we
Vinegar
roll.
Syndrome's got their own properly releases for July, and they got a group of 5 films,
Yes,
and them films are Gorgo in
nice.
4K. We also have Terror at 10 Killer. Um, we also have Delirium, The Demon Rat, which sounds amazing, and Psycho Girls.
Psycho Girls. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Um, so Gorgo is the only one of these I got to see. This is a 4K UHD release. This came out in 1961, I believe.
Yeah.
This is essentially you're gonna hear everybody say this. It's a Godzilla ripoff movie. It's a Godzilla King Kong ripoff movie. Um, just kind of a British. I think it's a British film version of it or whatever. And so these fishermen are out fishing, doing their thing, and they basically discover this creature that's essentially Godzilla meets the Loch Ness monster meets King Kong. It turns out that it is not the actual monster or the actual kaiju or whatever the case may be. It's the child of said monster, but they don't know that. So they capture this creature, bring it back to their home, and gonna put it in the circus to kind of like show off and sell and make money. I believe you saw that in King Kong as well as Lost World Jurassic Park. and then a couple of Jurassic Park sequels kind of just did the same thing. But then the parent decides I got to get my baby back, so it shows up and just wreaks havoc, and that's the movie.
Hmm.
And scene. That's Gorgo. I believe Mystery Science Theater 3000 did an episode on Gorgo. I think it's in their 25th anniversary uh, box set or edition that they put out several years ago, their tin edition. I have that in my collection. So I'd seen the movie, but completely didn't remember it. So I rewatched it, and I'm pretty sure you can find it streaming like on Tubi or somewhere. I think it was Tubi. So this is a 2 disc edition. It's got a 4K UHD presentation, special features and such. But yeah, that's all I know about Gorgo. The other films I did not get to see, but they're in the Vinegar Syndrome vein.
Yeah, yeah, they all seem very much up the alley of what you expect. So yeah, let's go over
Yeah,
to the partner labels.
yeah. This is where things get interesting. Um,
Interesting.
so yeah, like we said earlier on in the show, these dropped July 1st, which is Saturday, and we're recording this on July 2nd, which is the Sunday. So we didn't get a lot of time to go through a lot of this stuff. But I did get to go through 4 of these partner label, and there are 17 of them. So I didn't get through the vast majority of them. So I had to like kind of spot check the ones I wanted to go to. But the first one here that I did get to go, actually, would you want to list them off and then go through them?
Well, let's just go through them one by one.
Okay.
VHS hit Shitfest.
Oh, here you
Adjust
go.
your tracking. The untold story of the VHS collector. I believe I've seen this as well because when we talked to Dan Kinham, who is the runner of VHS Shitfest, this is his film. So
Oh, it is. I didn't even know
yeah,
that while
yeah,
watching it. This is a really solid documentary, man. If you grew up like Steven and I in the VHS era, if you're a collector of movies, if you're a collector of anything, I think this movie is in, you'll be able to vibe on it on a certain level. You'll
yeah,
be able to connect with it because it's really about the passion of collecting, the hunting of connecting, feeding that need, just all of that stuff, but centered around VHS. They don't really go into like the history of VHS or stuff like that. It's more about the collectors. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
more about that. I thought it was really cool. It's also shot like a movie in VHS quality, which I thought was really a nice touch. Goes through a bunch of eccentric dudes who have massive VHS collections, man. Just there was one dude on there who said at one point he had 22,000 VHS tapes in his collection. And
Jesus.
I said,
Yeah, I
God damn,
remember. I
that's a lot.
remember that. Yeah,
That
yeah.
dude is crazy. And then they go through like certain things that many of us will understand. Hunting down a very specific rare edition of something or just a rare movie and having to pay an exorbitant amount on eBay for it, while you hear other stories of people paying $3 for it, the same exact thing. And you're like, God damn. God damn, that
Hmm.
happens. I really, yeah, this is a great documentary. I dug it. I dug it a lot. It's yeah, it's totally worth your time if you're vibing on that level. It is available to watch. Where did you watch it, Steven? I can't remember.
I think it was on the Tubi or something like that. I believe.
Yeah, I think it was on Tubi as well. I should probably check right now, but it's definitely worth your time. It's a cool documentary. It came out in 2012, I think, which is interesting just because the world of collecting, even collecting VHSs, has so vastly changed since then. You know what I mean? I would love an update from it. Oh yeah, it's streaming on Peacock, it's streaming on Roku, it's streaming on Tubi, it's streaming on Shout Factory TV, which is like a free thing with ads as well. So you can watch it any of those places. Next up is Canadian International Pictures put out Dirty Money. This is directed by the same director who directed the movie Gina, which was a huge seller for them. I think the limited edition sold out eventually. And Dirty Money, I did get to see. The only way I could see this is I had to rent it from iTunes. Was the only place to rent it from.
Hmm.
The Internet Archive does have it, but no special features. I didn't know that for some reason on the Internet Archive they you can't have special features, or they're not allowed, or you have to download your own and bring them there, some shit like that. But I was like, I'm not dealing with this nonsense. I have $4. I will rent this because it's worth it for Canadian to support Canadian International Pictures. And yeah, it is a good movie. It's a movie that is very subtle, very somewhat laid back, very visual, not a lot of like hyper fixated editing, hyper fixated coverage or anything like that. A lot of oneers in the film. It's really interesting film. So this is directed by Dennis Arcand, and it's a movie where there's this guy who runs this shop, and he goes home and he's got a wife, he's got kids, and he's got this dude Ernie who works with them. He's like his main like shop hand or whatever. So they all live in like this small apartment or whatever, but his rich uncle Arthur shows up one day, who he hasn't seen in years, and he decides this rich uncle decides he's going to give them some money, like $500, I think, or whatever. And initially they take it and they're like, yeah, thank you very much, all that kind of stuff. Because, when you get money, you just, kind of take it or whatever if you need it. But then, of course, they end up having dinner, they get drunk, and they say some shit that you say when you're drunk. And they end up saying that this $500 is no good. It's not enough. You're super wealthy. We should have more. And then he takes the money and goes home. And then they decide they're going to rob this guy for all of his money. And that's when complications ensue. Because once you start doing illegal, dumb shit, uh, uh, bad things tend to happen. And that's when this movie kind of gets more interesting and really kind of takes off, and it becomes unpredictable to me. The best part of this movie is I had no idea where it was going at some points, and it made it very engaging, very engaging. Highly recommend this movie. If you're
Awesome.
if you're into if you're into that same vibe that was in Gina, I think you'll end up really liking this
Well,
film as
it's
well.
it's a part of an unofficial trilogy, so
Yes,
I gotta get it.
gotta get it.
So,
Gotta get
and I
it.
believe when we talked to them, the guys from CIP, or I know when we even talked to um, Alexandra Heller Nicholas, I believe she mentioned that I think that all three films are going to eventually come.
Oh, cool.
So in the third film is Regine Padavani is the name of
Oh,
the middle film.
oh yeah, it
So
is called. It is right here. Regina Padovani. Yes,
yeah,
from 1973. So
yeah,
there's Dirty Money from 72, Regine Padovani, and Gina from 1975. And those trailers are all featured here as special features. It's actually the one time where I appreciate trailers being a special feature on something and not just a waste of space.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I really wish she had some type of special feature on here. Alexandra Heller Nicholas. But she is on the Gina release. So the next one that we assume is Regine Padovani, kind of a little sneak peek. Um, but yeah, Steven, I know you're getting it. I still need to get Gina, actually. I know Orbit DVD still has some limited editions in stock I got to get my hands on.
It's good. Yeah, it's
Um,
good.
Next is a movie called by Factory 25, Fake It So Real, which is about wrestling.
Yeah, it's another wrestling. We got more wrestling documentaries, guys. Um, it's a ragtag group of wrestlers in North Carolina. Oh, damn! I guess I got to get this.
Nice.
Over the course of a week leading up to a big show, film explores what happens when the over-the-top theatrics of wrestling ring collide with the realities of the working-class South. The wrestlers aren't paid for their passion, but they treat wrestling like any artist treats their work. Fake It So Real shares the triumphs and heartaches of an often underappreciated American art form. Um,
Cool.
Sounds good. Sounds like
Sounds
something.
fascinating.
Sounds like I need to watch it just because it's from my state, and
Yeah, and it looks like you got some extensive, like, behind the scenes, interesting stuff. Like, it's like so looks like some podcast stuff. You've got some wrestling promos. Um, yeah, I don't think people realize how big wrestling is. I know
oh,
we,
it's huge. Yeah,
for those of you, probably are more familiar with like WWE and all that kind of stuff, but there's so many smaller local companies that put on these wrestling performances. And
yeah,
they have them here in my state. They have them like everywhere, you know?
yeah.
It's such a massive cultural thing that you don't really think about it too much. But yeah, this is sounds fascinating. Really, it does.
Yeah.
So next we've got from Yellow Veil Pictures, Falcon Lake. Now this was actually the last movie I watched in preparation for the podcast. I watched this late last night. Probably started it around 3 a.m. What a movie! What a movie! Yeah, I this is an incredible film. Um, uh, it's it's I can't even describe it. It's a coming of age film. Came out first of all, it came out in 2022. It's directed by Charlotte Le Bon. I had never heard of the movie, even though it came out so recently. And it's probably a movie that was at film festivals and stuff like that. That's my assumption. And it is a really, really great coming of age film. Really genuine, really well acted, well paced, shot, well directed. It's part love story, part ghost story, part coming of age, like I keep saying. And it's about this young boy who's this young shy boy who's from France, and he goes on a vacation with his family to Quebec. And they go out to like this cabin at this looks like this lake, and it's like a summer vacation, family summer vacation. And he is like 13 going on 14, and he meets this young girl who is like the daughter of a family friend. And they end up she's a little older, so she's a little more mysterious, you know what I mean? The older,
Mm.
fixation of his, sexual coming of age type stuff as well, like we were talking about earlier. And it's they strike up this bond and this friendship, this young romance, if you will. And it's a very interesting film. There's a lot of contemporary but timeless things going on in it when it comes to young people and just life stuff. And then there's a certain ending here that is interesting that still is sticking with me now. I won't get into it, but I'm curious for those of you listening, if you do see this film, what you think of the ending and what it all is and whatnot. It is available to rent via VOD on like Google and YouTube and Apple and Amazon and Vudu and stuff like that. But this is a release that I'm probably gonna pre-order. If there's one release I want to pre-order, it's this one. It is down to about 298 copies right now, so it is starting to go, and I think I now understand why. So that's Falcon Lake. It gets my highest recommendation. Um,
Awesome.
yeah. Moving on,
Sounds
there
good.
we got Music Box Selects with Full Time. Steven, do you know anything about this movie?
Of
Because I know
course
I
not.
don't.
Of course not. If you don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
uh, Yeah, it's about a single mother who is raising two children in Paris suburbs and cannot catch a break. Seems very contemporary
I
with
I was gonna say that I think
single
a
parents
lot of
struggling.
lot of these releases this month from partner labels
2022. This
are
movie came
all
out.
are all pretty new. This is
Yeah.
2022. I believe a lot of them are in the last couple years. So um,
Yeah, it looks like
that's why some of these are tough to.
it's tough to find, or you have to like rent them via VOD. They're not really streaming anywhere. And a
Yeah,
lot of these movies probably were at film festivals and are
never have had. Yeah,
still in the process of distribution deals, really, if you think about it. Um, so yeah, so this looks like a movie about a single parent struggling trying to survive raising her children, and she's stressed the hell out, which is I think something that a lot of people can understand.
yep,
Um, yeah, I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated. But next is put out by Canny is Once a Moth, not once a month, but once a moth. Um, and this one's selling out pretty quickly as well. There's about 484 copies left, and it's yeah, it's directed by Lupita Aquino Kashiwahara. I believe it's a Filipino film.
yes,
Yes, yes, it is. So Nora Honor stars in what is often deemed her finest performance as Corazon de la Cruz, a Filipina nurse living near the U.S. Clark Air Base on Luzon Island. She dreams of a better life in the United States until the unspeakable happens.
Hmm.
Don't know what that unspeakable thing could be, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be traumatic.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this I was looking into this one. It looked like it was pretty good. It's gotten pretty high praise.
Yeah,
Um,
and Canny or Connie, still don't know how to pronounce it.
Connie,
They put out some thought-provoking films.
yeah,
Very, very dramatic, thought-provoking films. The next film, Steven, by ETR Media, The Outwaters, this thing's the hottest seller of all of them. We're
Really?
down to 144 copies of the standard edition.
Jesus.
So limited edition gone, standard edition almost gone. Um, I've never heard of this movie.
This movie it came out this year,
Yes, it did.
2023.
Yes, it did.
Damn.
Directed by Robbie Banfitch. Um, it says, "Let chaos take you to a place beyond the hills, where the thunder echoes off the canyons and the choirs of coyotes pierce the midnight sky. Deep in the Mojave Desert, under a scorching blood-red sun, four travelers have set up camp. They came to make art. They came to commune with nature. They came to laugh and sing in love. They came to vanish." Oh. One fateful night, the group is thrust into a feverish tornado of flayed flesh and mind-boggling monstrosities. Oh boy, the likes of which mere humans simply cannot fathom. In a stretch of land covered once covered by shallow Paleozoic seas, what horrors might surface? I'm getting a very "The Hills Have Eyes" vibes from this.
Maybe, maybe.
An owl's cry, the rattlesnake's hiss, a wail in the darkness. Wow, they're selling this hard, by the way. Um, there is no
It's
mirage.
working.
That is really happening.
It's
Uh,
working.
God damn, that's how you sell a movie, people. That is how you sell a movie. So it's called The Outwaters.
Okay.
Like get your hands on it soon, or wait until Diabolic or the DVD gets their hands on it as well, so you can maybe snag the limited edition that is apparently very hard to
Gone.
get. Um, yeah, I'm trying to see why this is so popular. I have no idea.
I don't know. Sometimes there's a I don't know. You read into something and there's a fervor for it, and it's like okay, and this is probably the only Blu-ray releases is gotten so far. Maybe people are you know just clamoring to see it just based off of its
Yeah,
description.
I
I
I
don't
was
know.
just checking the director's filmography. I've never seen any of his other films, so, like, usually maybe that's, like, a case, like, he did a hit film before, so now, like, everybody wants to grab onto this, but I've never seen it. Never
Yeah.
seen his other work. So that's The Outwaters. Moving on from there is the movie I actually did see. This is the Deaf Crocodile film, The Pied Piper. This is a stop motion grotesque animated film from 1986, and the stop motion animation and the design of this movie and the aesthetics of this movie are insane.
Yeah, actually announced a while back ago, because they had a Kickstarter for it. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because I gave money to the Kickstarter, so, um, and with that, you get, like, there's an exclusive slipcase if you, uh, contributed to this if you got the right tier, you could
Yeah,
get
a cer
the exclusive.
contributed a certain amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm getting the exclusive one from that,
Oh,
so I'm waiting
nice.
on
I'm
that.
kinda jealous 'cause it
But
is.
honestly, I mean, that one that one looks great, but this one actually looks really awesome too.
Yeah,
Um,
the artwork, just in the movie itself is incredible. The stop motion animation is like unreal aesthetic. It's grotesque. It's weird. It's disturbing.
okay.
If you don't
Does it
know the fable of the Pied Piper, it's an adaptation of that story. But
Yeah.
it's done in such a way that's unbelievable because there's a language in this film that is a made up language and there's no like subtitles for it or anything like that. So you're just like watching people interact with one another based off of you're like interpreting it as like based off of emotion, based off of body language, based off
so
of stuff like that. Um,
like a video like what's the video game my wife likes to play all the time? Fucking where they all where she builds houses. What's the name of that damn
oh,
Sims? Like
is it The
Sims.
Sims? Yeah,
Like
I guess
Sims,
kind
like
of like
Sims, they
that.
all talk to each other, but they don't fucking say any real words.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say Minecraft.
No, no.
Minecraft. Um, but no, but yeah, this is a Czechoslovakian film, and yeah, the movie only runs like 53 minutes long, so it's not a long movie.
Yeah.
What I'm more interested in is what the special features are like, and it looks like there's a couple of here. Looks like there's a short film by the director. Looks like there's like a behind the scenes making of documentary, which is about 13 minutes long. New video interview with the director, and Deaf Crocodile, audio commentary. Um, Yeah, I don't watch a lot of Czechoslovakian films. And the whole movie is kind of like a metaphor for like anti-capitalism and stuff. It's very interesting. It's gothic as hell. Gothic as hell. So for those of you who don't know the Pied Piper fable, I would say look it up. But it's like this fable from like the 13th century where, rats were running amok in Europe and they had to figure out a way to get rid of them. And this movie takes that idea of the Pied Piper coming to town, getting rid of the rats, and then the people who run the town don't decide not to pay him, and he decides to get his revenge on them. Um, but this movie takes things a few steps further, and it's really all about the visual art on showcase in this movie. Yeah, it's really really good. You can actually watch the whole thing right now on YouTube. That's where I watched it.
Yeah.
So it is available on there. So next up is a movie called Rimini, by Big World Pictures, and this is another modern film. This movie came out in 2022. I'm developing a bit of a theme here.
Mm.
And this movie is about an Austrian pop star who used to be successful and is no longer successful, and I think is trying to get that glory back in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, and of course things get complicated when looks like a long lost, unexpected daughter um, enters his life, and looks like that creates complications of his story.
All right.
Yeah, and he's also dealing
It's
with a
got a
lot of
se-
other
you got it
familial stuff.
coming with
It's an interesting premise.
it's coming
Yeah.
with the CD soundtrack as well. So
Oh,
that's yeah.
okay.
So we're gonna get some of the
Yeah, the
actual
character's name
music.
is
Yeah.
Richie Bravo.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm, an
Okay.
Austrian pop star. Okay, so that's Rimini, and then we got Tortured Soul Trilogy. So this is a trilogy of films. This is down to the standard edition level now already too. Um, and this comes with the Tortured Soul from 1992, or just Tortured Soul, and then Tortured Soul 2, Ike and Mike, 1994, and then Tortured Soul 3, The Willing Flesh from 2004. Um, yeah, this is a shot on video stuff, and this is put out by Saturn's Core. Yeah, they put out all the shot on video stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like with the movie called Tortured Soul, you're gonna get some stuff here. So yeah, it looks like serial killing and slashing and savagery
Yeah,
is abound in this.
everything a normal, growing, vinegar syndrome boy or girl, wants
Yeah, it
in their
looks like
collection.
so. Yeah, they're just like psycho killing. Qu'est-ce que c'est is in this. I'm just reading all these premises here on Vinegar Syndrome's website. And it looks like these all have the same premise of just murder and mayhem, murder
Yeah.
and mayhem, slashing, and all that kind of stuff. But next we've got some Alter Innocence stuff, and this is Alter Innocence is putting out Uranian Dreams, two homosexual films by Eloy de la Iglesia, who directed the
Iglesias.
film Pals.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
he did a lot of good stuff. We talked about him a lot. I've talked about how much I really like him. Um, he did Murder in a Blue World. He did them kinky films that Severin put out.
yes, he
Um,
did.
yeah, he's done a lot of good stuff. Cannibal Man.
Yes, he did. He did do Cannibal Man. Um, yeah, he did Cannibal Man, El Diputado, which I think is actually in this set here. Pals, which I already remembered. So let's see. The two films in this set are, um, let's see, they wrote a heck of a lot on here. It's called Hidden Pleasures and Confessions of a Congressman. And these are the first two openly homosexual films in Spain, or films to directly address or have homosexuality, I believe, in them. Yeah, these are part of his legendary kinky films.
There you
So
go.
that's very interesting. Very
Yeah, I
much a
mean,
Walter Innocence fan.
this was an automatic pre-order for me because
Oh, cool.
I'm a big fan of him, and I just everything that they're going to put out by him, I'm going to get. So,
There you go. I mean, yeah, these came out in 1977, 1978. It's got doesn't have much in the way of special features other than a video essay by Alexandra Heller Nicholas and a video essay by Lee Gambin.
bam.
But yeah, it looks like yeah, looks very interesting.
Awesome.
I'm
We
just
got to
curious about how what they're going to say about where his films are kind of placed within Spanish movie history. We don't talk a lot about Spanish movie history, as specifically when it comes to homosexuality and stuff like that. When I think of those films, um, I'm thinking of just oh, what are the films that I have? I'm losing my mind. We're doing like Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, and stuff like that. Who directed that? It's A Computer Will Work Faster. It is Pedro Almodovar. That's who I'm thinking. When I think of Spanish films dealing with homosexuality and LGBTQ stuff, I'm thinking of Pedro Almodovar.
yeah.
That's my relation to all of that. I don't know why completely blanking. That's what happens when you do this stuff for 2 hours after taking
Just
like
look at
2 weeks
me.
off.
Yeah. Just
So
look at me.
we're wrapping it up. Right, we got two more here.
No, we got
Act.
more than that. We got more than that. We skipped some.
What are you talking about,
You
Lewis?
skipped like three other ones. You got another alternate innocence title, "The Hole in the Fence."
Oh, I
Um,
did.
you
And the
skipped
heart
like
and
yeah,
yeah, I'm losing my mind here.
yeah. You
And the
skipped
deck
a few.
analog.
Yeah, I
Oh my
know.
goodness, I
I was
missed.
wondering what the hell you were doing, but I
I'm
was
going
like,
crazy, man.
yeah.
So where do you want to go? The hole in the
Hole in the
fence?
wall, hole in the fence, since it's alternate innocence as well. Um, is another pretty recent film, I believe. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, this cover's rad.
Yeah. At first, I was like, "Is this a movie about kids that love Kiss?"
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say, is that Kiss or is that Insane Clown Posse? What are we doing here?
yeah,
Yeah, at a secluded, exclusive summer camp in Mexican countryside under the watchful eyes of their guardians, who are probably useless as hell, boys from a prestigious private school receive physical, moral, and religious training to turn them into tomorrow's elite. Of course they are. The discovery of a hole in the fence sets in motion a chain of disturbing events as the boys devolve into a Lord of the Flies like mob mentality that creates and spreads hysteria in this profoundly disturbing coming of age drama that unravels like a horror film while drawing on actual events. That is very intriguing.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
I have a fascination with this idea of extreme oppression leads to has dire consequences.
yeah,
Like I'm thinking of my mind immediately goes to the virgin suicides. That extreme oppression, extreme suffocation of one's expressive, you know, uh, part of themselves can just have really dire consequences. It feels like that movie's dealing with that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm very curious about it. That's from 2021.
yeah.
And then we've got the Decalogue is doing um, the heart is deceitful above all things. Now, this is directed by Asia Argento, the daughter of Dario Argento. Um, yeah, this is a movie. Um, it has become actually very controversial now. It's a movie. Wow, have you seen the people who are in this movie, Steven?
No,
Uh,
I
Ben Foster. Hold on. Yeah,
Peter
above
Fonda's
all.
in it. Ben
No.
Foster's in it.
mm,
Marilyn Manson, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
Wow.
headlining one of the most intriguing casts of the 2000s, which includes, like you just said, Steven, Peter Fonda, Jeremy Renner, Ben Foster, Winona Ryder. Argento stars as Sarah, a woman who rips her son, played at various points by Jimmy Bennett, Dylan, and Cole Sprouse, out of foster care and throws him into her transient life as a sex worker at truck stops. That's interesting mothering there. Um, it's just like throwing a child into a chaotic life is not the best thing. Not and I'm not deriding sex work or anything like that, just any chaotic work or any chaotic lifestyle, throwing a child into it seems a little irresponsible. Um, Basically, I'm saying is if you're an adult who cannot take care of yourself, it's going to be really difficult for you to take care of a child. Um, as you know, Stephen, it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
I'm
Um,
tired all the time.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Leroy was yeah, I was saying it. So that seems to be the premise of the movie. Now, this movie does have a lot of controversy around it now in hindsight of certain personal revelations that happened, I think stemming from this film. Specifically, that years later, I believe Asia Argento would have a physical sexual altercation with the young actor who portrayed one of her sons in this film. and it would create a huge celebrity controversy and stuff like that. I was reading up on it a little bit recently and whatnot. So that's where all of this stems because I was like, oh, this movie sounds familiar, and that's where all of that comes from. And not to get into like celebrity lives and stuff like that, but that's where all of that comes from. Um, yeah. So this
All right.
is this is from 2004, directed by Asia Argento, starring Asia Argento. You get an audio commentary with her and the producer. Um, yeah, it's an interesting film. But we've got another one called The Harbinger from XYZ Films.
Yeah,
Um,
that's another 2022 film.
yes, it
Once again,
is.
another pretty new film. When her
Yeah,
oldest friend is plagued by horrific nightmares from the beyond, Monique is forced to travel to New York City. On the first night on the visit, Monique learns the dreams are contagious, and so is the Harbinger, the plague mask wearing demon who not only feeds on his victims' souls, but warps reality itself to remove any trace of their existence. Um, Sounds
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Sounds
If you're
kind of
having
fun. Yeah.
so basically, if you're having nightmares, do not call me to come help because I'm not getting um
Bullshit. I ain't dealing
I'm
with this
not
shit.
getting this contagious demon nightmare virus thing that you've got going on here.
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you very much. Uh, yeah. So it sounds like kind of like an It Follows, but with nightmares versus you
Yeah.
know sex. So I think So those are the ones I accidentally skipped over. Now scroll them back down to um Agfa. Yeah, Agfa's putting out two releases. First up here is
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Video Diary of a Lost Girl,
Yep.
which has a this is actually already down to its standard editions. Keep in mind these were announced yesterday, and
Yeah.
they're already down to the standard editions. This is a movie from 2020, directed by Lindsay Denneberg. Yes, the feature film debut from Lindsay Denneberg. Yeah, I was reading up on this. So premise of this film is very interesting. Steve, I don't know if you've read it. It's a hypercolor dreamland that combines a love for genre film history with a gorgeous handmade aesthetic. Louise works in a video store. It's already interesting, but she's also a demon. Uh, Whatever, it sounds awesome. A descendant of biblical demon mother Lilith, Louise fulfills her predestined obligation to have sex with a man, and then kill him every full moon. But here is a twist: when she meets Charlie, a reincarnated partner from her past, Louise struggles to not do what she does best, meticulously crafted with the use of repurposed art materials and green screen. Video Diary is a Valentine to the VHS aesthetic and an exploration of personal themes via the guise of body horror. The premise itself sounds very interesting. This conflict of interest between a demon and their duty, you know,
Yeah.
because of love of all things. Like, how can a demon also feel love? It seems counterintuitive.
So it's City of Angels or it's Wings of Desire, but from a demon.
From a demonic perspective.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, am very curious, but get on that soon enough because it looks like it's about to sell out. There's what like 423 copies left of the standard edition. Now, last up here is a double
Not like
feature.
it's not the last thing. You missed
Oh, did
something.
I skip another one?
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Umbrella Entertainment
Oh,
has
I did skip
Midnight
Umbrella.
Spares. Yeah.
So, do you want to go to Midnight Spears first?
Sure. Midnight Spares. Once again, these are things that typically I think have already had
Yeah,
Umbrella
yeah.
releases that they're
This has
just
already had
re-releasing.
one.
Yeah. So we've probably talked about this when it got announced through them.
I think
But
it came out in like 2019 from them. So it looks like it sounds a lot like Gone in 60 Seconds, to be honest.
I think you've seen this and you talked about it.
I don't think I've seen Midnight
I
Spares.
feel like I remember us talking about it, and I feel like you
Huh.
said I don't know, but Tarantino likes the movie. Yeah, he says it's like a Fast and the Furious movie, um, of the 80s.
Yeah, it does seem like a Fast and Furious Gone in 60 Seconds type of movie.
Yeah,
Packed with jaw-dropping crashes and smashes. Uh, Butamin, burning chases, and adrenaline-pumping speedway action. Midnight Spares features scene-stealing performances from Ozploitation superstars Bruce Spence and David Argue, alongside Gia Carides in her film debut and spunky Amanda Dole. Oh, the 1983 Playmate of the Year. Who knew? Um, yeah, it's like fast cars and attractive people. That's Fast and Furious.
That's it.
That's it. Uh, that's Midnight
But
Spares.
that's Midnight Spares, and the last one we were going to talk about
Yes,
is a,
Agfa.
a double feature here. We got or there might be more than that, but it's Wakalika Wood Supa Action Volume 1.
Volume 1. Yeah, they
And
couldn't
you
have made
got,
that easier to pronounce.
I know, and then you got two movies. You got Who Killed Captain Alex and Bad Black.
Yeah. From just reading the premise here is this is like DIY action commando movies that were made for $200. That's what it says.
And these are pretty recent too. One's from 2010, one's from 2016. So very recent.
Yes, and these are Ugandan films.
Ah, that's cool.
Home of the best movies. And that's what it says here in quotes.
All right.
Eh,
Well, that's why I couldn't pronounce that well.
Wakaliwood? Yeah. Yeah, just looking at some of the pictures from this looks insane. Like it looks like people like making action films in their backyards. That's what it
Yeah,
looks
I
like.
mean, this one picture of this dude in the helicopter looks like it's obviously like a computer, like
Oh,
it's.
did you
It
have you
makes me
seen
think of like Birdemic.
Yeah, it looks very much like Birdemic. Have you
Yeah.
seen this picture here of this clearly photoshopped car on its on
Ah, yes, that's beautiful.
Yes. This looks very much in the vein of Birdemic.
And the gun flare here looks very professional. No, but it looks like it's like a charming, like like you said, DIY.
Yeah.
Very very low budget. No
But yeah,
budget movie.
backyard, like this is
Yeah.
the kind of stuff you would shoot with your friends on a weekend
Yeah, there's a
and turn
kid
it into a
standing here
movie.
in one still, and it says Wesley Snipes.
Nice.
But,
Yeah, these are all
yeah.
directed by Nabwana Isaac Godfrey Jeffrey or IGG. Yeah,
Alright.
and he's the one behind all this. He's the writer, director, producer
Hell
of these
yeah.
films.
It's awesome.
So that
Alright.
is it for Vinegar Syndrome and their partner labels, and that is it for I think this week's episode.
That's it, man. I throw myself
I,
on the mercy of the court.
I got nothing
Uh,
left. I don't think I got any energy left to do anything.
This, funny enough, is not the longest show we've ever done.
Oh no, it's not. It just
But
we feel so out of practice that I feel like
I'm
it
just
feels
tired.
longer.
I've been on vacation being lazy, so now sitting here for 2.5 hours, my ass hurts. And
Oh,
now I wanna
you didn't have to say that, but
sorry.
I appreciate it.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I've not okay. That's it, guys. Episode 105 is in the books. Andrew, where can you be found?
You can find me on Twitter if it's still alive, because recently things fallen apart worse
Again.
than anything. So it's on Twitter at Capzilla06 as well as our YouTube channel Chasing Labels.
And you can find me on Facebook, Stephen Billings, or at the other Chasing Labels pages, whether it be our Instagram or Twitter. You can also follow me on Letterboxd at Stephen Billings. You can also find the audio for the podcast at Podbean, Apple Podcast, Stitcher. Not anymore, because I think Stitcher's going out a bit.
Stitcher is ending
in August.
In August, yes.
So you won't hear me say Stitcher anymore when we get to August. Stitcher, Spotify, and other places. Thanks again for listening, and hey, keep on watching them movies.
I know I will.